Anti-White, the movie, exciting developments. We'll be talking about it shortly. Can the government exclude whites on account of their race? Forbes says yes. A couple of other articles as well. California's Reparations Task Force to hear testimony on, oh, we love this, anti-black racism. We don't like that. And housing and education policy. Critical race theory fears are based in lazy racist thinking. Well, they mean heretical thinking, of course. And white privilege is real, or reverse racism is not. We're going to get into that article as well. Very briefly, though, of course, our great guest of today is, for 30 minutes or so, going to be with us. It's the one and only Icelandic Iron Man, Baldur. And we have some news, the media reporting on us in Iceland, all around the world. We are going to have a great conversation. Your comments, but no calls today, as we have a guest. And for all of you adult children out there with your parents or guardians, never forget that a plateau is the highest form of flattery. And we are going free, ladies and gentlemen. It is 5 p.m. in Washington, D.C., 7 a.m. in Sydney, 10 in London, and midnight in Moscow. I hope everybody is doing good on this Sunday evening, Monday morning. We are ready to go free of this anti-white narrative, are we not? We are sick and tired of it. Things are going well all over the world, and we are deeply excited about it. Please, if you would like to comment today, have a conversation about what's going on in your neck of the planet, let us know. Reach out. Tag me as No White Guilt on YouTube or D Live or Odysee. We will have all of those open, and I will be checking them out. You may also ask questions in the question widget over on Entropy. Make comments there as well, but you can also vote on them in that question widget, also known as the Tall Kevin widget, of course. You may financially gift over there on Entropy as well. It's up and running. And you may also financially gift on Cash App. You can find the links to both of those in the description below. And finally, you may also financially gift over on Odysee, but do not financially gift $1 there. They take almost the entire thing. But you can also financially gift there with their weird little library tokens as well. And thank you to everyone who is over there on Odysee and D Live as well. It's great to see every single one of you. I think I see RK62 over there on D Live, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, hello, and Jim and Monty. So many champions. And it looks like, who do we have over on Odysee? Jay is there, and the Great Sloths is, I think, going to be over there, or is over there as well. Let me turn around to here and make sure everything is working okay. Great to see you all. Looks like we've remedied most of the computer issues we were having. I see the great First Last is with us. Wonderful to see you, brother. Southern Bloom, Raymond Van Buskirk, Brand Danger, of course, great champion. Promethean Healing, no, I missed the start despite being here on my laptop waiting. I was listening and to over on Countercurrents, D Live. Sorry, I don't know what must have happened on your machine. And yeah, we had actually a question earlier about streaming at this time for the gathering. We've been doing this for 2 years. And so if it's regrettable that there are overlaps, but I haven't changed from 5 p.m. Eastern time for over 2 years. So sorry about that to everybody who might be missing another show or deciding not to be here because there's another show on. The great Olivia Key is with us. So is Fit and Healthy at any age. Greek Man as well. Lucky and Simon JJ. Great to see you all. Heidi, wonderful to see you. How are you hanging out? Are you hanging out with Ray right now? Wonderful to see you. There's the one and only, folks. Biospirit of the West, financially gifting last week $2,000 to all of the success that he has seen in service to white well-being in his life and to the lives that he's seeing it taking place around the world in people's lives, but also being able to use his genius level certified IQ to be able to use reason and logic to deduce the success, the possibility of success for the concepts that we use here in service to white well-being. Let's see who else we had. John is with us. Great to see you, brother. Glad that you're well. Anglo-America. Steve is here. Great to see you. Art Acrobats and Western Renaissance. And Heiling is with us. Let's see, was it Western Renaissance with Mark was there as well beside Western Renaissance? Anglo-Saxon. And Rory is with us. Wonderful to see you. So is Jerome. Great to see you, brother. And Masumi Rabbit. Promethean Promulgation. Hello and welcome to you. It is a beautiful day. Heiling says it is an autumn day in the wonderful month of October in the once great state of Virginia. I am a stone's throw from a White House with a senile man wanders around the premises. They don't know what to do with him. But every now and again, they point him toward the door, and he walks through the door and walks back out and says something silly onto a stage that looks like the White House and off of the stage. And then round we go again. He might break into song, Ring Around the Rosie, considering the pandemic that is circling the globe. Nordic Night Rider asks, is Entropy up yet, brother? It sure is. It's up and running. Iron Dragon. No worries, Jason. I hope it's a good show as usual. Thank you so much. And the great Donning Armor as well. And the wonderful Franklin Peanut, who is discovering hundreds of leaflets posted in his area. Isn't that amazing? Great luck that this gentleman has. What a true champion. You know somebody is a magnificent champion when they wander their community and they come upon hundreds of leaflets posted all over the place talking about no white guilt and nowhiteguilt.org and Go Free and Hollywood Isn't History and other meme curatives that we use here. Fred is here. Carl is here. Wonderful to see you all. We're going to jump right over unless there are any immediate questions. Max is here. DJ is here. Wonderful as always. Drift Right also hanging out, growing and going free of the anti-white narrative. That's what we do. We're not going to just sit around and doom document. We don't do that here. We're not going to just doom dissect. We're not going to do that here because we are not inside of the anti-white narrative. I'm thinking about doing another one of those short Q&A type of things for going free. We have a number of those up, or the most frequently asked questions, and I think we might address some of these issues that are difficult for folks. Seem to be difficult for folks to understand. Why? Because they're trapped within the anti-white narrative. They're on the pages of that book that we look down upon from the book of our writing, the book of our choosing, where we are the champions, where we are moral. And those out there who want to inflict injury on Western civilization, harming everyone that lives in Western countries, they are the immoral ones who have to try to justify their immorality. We look down to those in those other pages and we offer them our hands because we can see how befuddled they are, how fanatical they are, how confused they are. A child trapped in a crib. Actually, have you ever trapped any kind of varmint? Have you ever trapped a squirrel, for example? Everyone knows that they're quite evil. Have you ever trapped a squirrel? And maybe you all know that where I live, there was a superfluity of these wonderful, cute little animals that destroy things in your yard. And to the point of there were moments where I could count 7 or more in the yard at a time. And I thought, my gosh, I can't continue this way. I'm going to have to do something. All of them scratching at their fleas. And so what I decided to do was the humane thing. I bought a trap and I would put a little bit of food on the inside and they would wander in and they would be trapped. And I would walk up, and because they are quite squirrely, I would throw a towel over the cage to calm them. I would hop on the bicycle and I would ride to a wonderful neck of the woods. Of course, what I did was I looked at the ranges of squirrels. How far does a squirrel actually travel? Because I knew I would have to go farther than that or they would just come right back to my house. So I went further than that and I would release them. But having said that, before throwing the towel over the cage, and once I would release them, they were fanatical inside. They very much did not like being in the cage. And so they ended up being fanatical. They would claw, they would bite, they would do everything. And that's what we see people who are trapped inside the anti-white narrative doing, isn't it? What's the difference? They're trapped inside of a story. They don't know how to combat the story. They lash out in unproductive ways, harming themselves, harming our people. That's why you got to throw a towel. Maybe what we need to do when it comes to people like Ant Nats is just throw a towel over them. And then I don't carry them off to some wonderful place and then set them free amidst the glades and maybe some wheat fields or something will appeal to them, and they'll just run free from the trap and be happy ever after. I doubt it, but we can give it a go if you'd like. We'll start here on Forbes today with this wonderful looking creature, Lightfoot. Lightfoot is her name, and apparently she's some sort of mayor. She's some sort of mayor. You know, regrettably, Chicago has quite the reputation for criminality, for corruption. It just cannot shake this reputation. They just keep pushing out criminals. They keep pushing out corruption, one right after the other. And now they're known for semi-aquatic beings taking the role of mayor. Chicago Mayor Lightfoot has officially told white reporters that she won't give them interviews. Well, I'm sure their feelings were hurt. Good, please. I hope more of these anti-whites who call themselves Democrats will tell white reporters, no, thank you. And that will begin to make things, as it has been, far easier for us. Let's go, Brandon. Can the government exclude whites on account of their race? Writes Evan over at Forbes, or types Evan over at Forbes. We're going to see what he has to say from the end of the Jim Crow. So right back to the black and white era. Oh, you weren't alive? Well, if you're white, you're still responsible, and we're going to use it as an excuse to victimize you. So you see how this works? Right off the bat, this is what Evan is going to do to you. So you know what kind of person Evan over at Forbes is right away. Until very recently, the law has required that the government treat people equally regardless of their race. What? No. Maybe you missed, Evan. Maybe you missed the literally, and don't make that mistake. Don't you do it. You know what I'm talking about. You're not inside the anti-white narrative. You're not going to start talking about the law here or the law there, right? You're not going to immediately jump to affirmative action or something of that nature. No. It's much deeper than the laws that have been passed, isn't it? We have an anti-white morality because we're inside of the anti-white narrative, and they won't let the regular folks escape us. We have a skeleton key, though. And as a consequence, every single law that is passed, interpreted, and applied, as well as every single code, every code of conduct, code in a business, standard at school, rules for organizations, every single one for 100 years, every single one has been informed by anti-whiteism, which means what? Which means that we see the law dilated to inflict injury on Western kind and Western civilization, especially those who want to get in the way of the anti-white victimization of our people and civilization. We see the law ignored. So there really is no law, is there? We see the law ignored when it will somehow harm anti-whites, whether they're white or non-white or whatever, victim groups of various types that are anti-white, of course. We see the law ignored, and we see this time and again. So that is what you need to touch upon, not this one affirmative action, because the average person out there in the street, the average brother or sister, is going to think that's one group of people that are benefiting. Of course, that's not how it ends up being applied. And then what? Somehow that justifies persecution and discrimination. Do they do the same thing for Japanese children because Pearl Harbor? And by the way, just out of curiosity, how many people, should I do this? Should I say, maybe I'll save it. We'll see. Well, I'll come back. I'll possibly come back to that. But for right now, I mean, do they do the same thing to Japanese children? Do they say, no, now you are going to feel awful for the rest of your life because of something that actual relatives of yours did, not people hundreds of years ago or thousands of years ago, but actual relatives. Maybe I'll go ahead and do it. Why such praise about the honor of the Japanese? Do you all forget about the Pearl Harbor attack, December 7, 1941? Just a question. It's off the topic a bit, but we're going to keep rolling. Jim Crow era, whenever they have to break up the black and white footage to make you to white guilt you, you know that they're stretching. The mayor, and then of course saying that everything has been equal and fair, except there's still been persecution of non-white people in the anti-white narrative. That's how it works. The major exception to that has been affirmative action programs. At least he's acknowledging that it's not just a singular thing. But the courts have limited such programs to specific circumstances. No, they have not. And have barred quotas and exclusion. No, they have not, of any sort. He's lying to you. That's how they work in the anti-white, because they have no morality. Because their morality is to serve the anti-white morality, which means anything goes to arrive at an anti-white conclusion. You all know that by now. There's obviously been governmental discrimination against minorities. Oh, obviously? No, as a matter of fact, there hasn't been shit of discrimination or persecution, Evan. There hasn't been any, as a matter of fact. You can look at every single law, every single code, at every university, at everywhere. There isn't anywhere. That's why you all have to come up with things like institutional racism, because it's not written. It's not being applied. No one is being directly affected. So you have to say it's just in the ether. Evan, that's why you all make up lies like that. So you're starting off with lies. Nothing bad happening to white people, but still bad things happening to non-white people. There has obviously been governmental discrimination against minorities. And remember, we never say minorities because non-white people are not in a precarious situation. White people are in a precarious situation. A tiny minority of the world's population, a minority in almost every single city across the West, and increasingly by, of course, 7 more years or so, 8 more years or so from now, roughly, we're going to be a minority in the United States. And increasingly in other Western countries, numerically minority. But that is illegal. Oh, it's illegal. Okay, yeah, even if it is hard completely to stop and practice. Oh, okay, so it's illegal, but it just keeps happening. So white people need to be harmed. Recently, though, the word equity has been replacing equality from the words of President Joe Biden down through lower levels of government. Glad to know that he's at the top. Wonder what the lower levels look like. If Joe Biden is at the peak, if he's at the acme, then what's the nadir? What's the nadir of that equation? That's a scary thought. Equity means that to fight systemic racism, there you go right there. Now he's taken it as a premise. You never allow them. You say, bravo, Sierra. There's no such thing. You cannot prove it. That is just an anti-white. It's just a mean pathogen. It's an anti-white slur. And since you can't prove it, it's just one of your superstitions. I utterly reject it. Systemic racism. Systemic racism, discrimination against privileged groups such as whites is not only acceptable but desirable. This is what they're saying, is that the lower levels are saying, oh, it's desirable to discriminate, all the way from Biden to the bottom floor. Now, what's interesting about this article, after just skimming it, is that what Evan does here is he takes the reader, because Forbes is going to be a more educated reader, or at least people who think they are, right? We all know people like that. They think they're prigs, really, is all they are. They shuffle around with their nose up in the air, and they are hyper delicate when it comes to the product they use, or that sort of thing. And they pretend like they're better than the rest of us. Very pretentious crowd. So they're going to be reading Forbes. And what this guy then does is his job, what Evan's job is he's to take them and he's to say, okay, you're seeing this dichotomy between what we say in the media, and it is conflicting with what you see in reality. Well, here's where I'm going to take you at the last minute. I'm going to tell you some of the truth, and at the last minute, we're going to take a hard turn, probably, I guess, into Antiwhiteism. So it's going to be straight down into hell. And we take a hard turn, and then that's how you will understand the world at the end of the article. Recently, though, okay, so we've got this equity thing, and equity means that the fight against systemic racism, discrimination against privileged groups such as whites, privileged groups such as whites. So now Evan's trying to make it seem like, oh, it's more people than just white people that are out there being harmed. Bravo, Sierra, Evan. Everyone knows White people are the only race that you can legally and morally discriminate and persecute against in the totality of the West. So he's trying to diminish our persecution, our suffering, by saying we are one of many groups that are just suffer. What a piece of shit Evan is. Just my opinion. Let's continue. As America's most oft-cited critical race theorist, Ibram Kendi, whose work is widely assigned in schools and higher education, puts it, quote, the only remedy to racist, of course, that's heresy to anti-whiteism, discrimination is anti-racist discrimination. So you get that anti-racist. So anti-racist is a code word for anti-white. Every time you hear that, anti-racist is a code word for anti-white. And you shut them right down. You stay in our story. This anti-white dirtbag continue. Taught to all the higher education and increasingly lower education. I'm sure they'll be giving beatifications away to people like Kendi in the not too distant future, like next week. The only remedy to past discrimination is present discrimination against white people. The only remedy to present discrimination is future discrimination against white people. I'm just finishing what that piece of dirt is actually thinking. What does this mean in practice? Drunkenly writes, types this loser for Forbes. As three recent examples should, propagandist is what Evan is. As three recent examples show, it means that government should sometimes exclude whites on account of their race. Well, maybe Evan thinks that we're not going to be able to remember the previous paragraph where he reduced our persecution to being one of many groups. But now he says in application, it's white people. He attempts to diminish it again at this time in this sentence, dumbass Evan, by saying sometimes. That's why it's coast to coast, north to south, Western country to Western country, because it's sometimes happening. Sometimes in the way that strychnine taken in large doses sometimes kills. But check with CNN. One relatively minor example of this occurred. Look at all of the ways this guy continues to try to couch what's happening to us. This piece of dirt would write this way because he's anti-white about what's happening to us in South Africa. One minor example is when scores of white people were ritualistically raped and murdered in front of their loved ones on their kitchen tables. That's a minor example, isn't it, Evan? Boy, I hope they get to his house first. When they start coming for the white people, let it please God, let it be these anti-white white people out there whose homes they get to first, not ours. I don't want anybody getting harmed, but the anti-whites, they're marching. They marched all during the summer, so they're marching. One minor example of this occurred when, it's a public school district in Massachusetts, all right, so Wesley Public School District, excluded white students from a, quote, healing space after the March shooting that killed 8 people, including 6 Asian Americans. Were white people killed? He mentions that some non-white people were killed. Does anybody know, were white people killed? So what were the other 2 people? Do they not matter? The email announcing the event read, quote, note, this is a safe space for our Asian American and students of color. So, of course, Asians are non-white. People of color excludes white people from mankind. So then it says not, with like little stars around it, for students who identify only as white. So, of course, they have the last say on whether or not you are properly identifying. Because if you waltz in there, like if I were to waltz in there as fair-skinned as I am and Germanic face that I have, and I just say, I feel like I'm identifying as whatever today, then they're going to say, sure, come in. You're identifying as whatever today. Just please sit among us. Hate white people with us. Just go ahead, hate white people. You know, they'll say, you're not allowed. Do you know how I know that? They'll say, first of all, reason and logic, but evidence as well. 3 decades of it. How about just a couple of weeks ago when some non-white, anti-white pieces of shit charged up to 2 white guys in a library at Arizona State University and said, this is a multiracial space. Ergo, your white asses have to get the hell out. Who got to decide? Was it the white guys? Did they go up and say, excuse me, you appear to be white to me, but what do you identify as? No, they said, you're white, get out of a multiracial space. Multiracial, what were they telling you there? I wish I could take everybody from all these years that I've had these conversations and drag them, all these white people, and drag them up from the past somehow. Where's Marty McFly? I need the time machine. Where's the DeLorean when I need it? Grab those SOBs and say, when they say multiracial, when they say diverse, they mean none of you. They mean no white people. When they say they're going to diversify the workforce, that means your white ass is about to get fired. When they say they're going to make your neighborhood more multiracial, that means that your white ass is going to get driven out. When they say that the college is going to become more multiracial, that means your children are not going to get accepted no matter how much money you pay for them. And all these white people over the years, no, it doesn't mean that. No, anything to get out of identifying with our own race and standing up for against those who would victimize us, anything. Oh, no, it doesn't mean that. And then all the white women wringing their hands. No, can't we just, what's wrong with you, Jason? Can't you just be good to these people and just get along? Well, bitches, men and women, well, we now get to see, I guess Jason was right. Where are the phone calls? No, that's why I need Marty McFly. Break out the DeLorean. If you own one, let's get some footage of me in it, and we'll put some burn marks on. I know how to do it. We can make flames on the road. It'll be great. We'll head right on back. The school district was obviously well-intentioned. Anti-whites. They're obviously well-intentioned. They fed the white people to, the wood chipper. The intentions were, and what did we hear about this professor up at Duquesne University, right? He's hooked on crack, Professor Hook. And he just said recently, it's an ethical argument to say that white people should be biologically white erased down there in South Africa and everywhere. Remember, so here we go. Revealing again, Evan, well done, you perfectly stolid dumbass. They were well-intentioned and were trying to create space where students, I guess whites aren't students, who see themselves as groups subject to hate crimes. Oh, okay. They see themselves as groups subject to hate crimes. But white people, white students, they're not allowed to see themselves as subjected to hate crimes, could get together to support one another. But even this minor, well-intentioned, the cherubs were at work. Their little wingies were just fluttering all day long. And then they got hit with, I don't know, raid or something. And because they were thought to be mosquitoes, but they weren't. They were cherubs. Fortunately, CNN was there to revive every single one of them. But even this minor, well-intentioned exclusion is harmful, he types drunkenly. I can even see a little bit of the puke in the words. For example, oh my gosh. For example, Jews who are mostly white in America. Here's some news, Evan. Jews are not white. They are a very specific people. There's a country where if you're a Jew, you can go live there. As a mostly Germanic descended white man of the West, I can't get a citizenship there because I'm not a Jew. So that means that they are a distinct people. They're not mostly white. They're not white at all. But of course, Evan was drunk and obviously also high on PCP and bath salts. He types on, are subjected to more hate crimes per capita than either Asian Americans or blacks. So what Evan is saying here in his stupor is that Jewish people, and I'm not digging into any data. Nobody should be victimized on the basis of an immutable characteristics, including white people. No one, including white people. What he's saying here is that Jews are. Now, that is actually a curious statement, since there are far more blacks and Asians than there are Jews. I mean, that would, for more Jewish people to be subjected to crimes that are driven by their Jewishness, that would mean that, that would be a massive, how could that be possible? I don't know. I don't care. I'm sure CNN knows, but it seems like a strange thing to say, given the overall number of Jewish people in the country. But again, no one, not Jewish people, not black people, not Asian people, not white people, should be victimized at all, period. There should be no victimization, but certainly not on the basis of an immutable characteristic. He types on, in fact, anti-Semitic, okay, so he can say anti-Semitic, so we can say anti-white. Hate crimes against Jewish students, isn't that redundant? He writes for Forbes, he types for Forbes, but again, he was on bath salts, so that makes sense. Students are at an all-time high, he says. If that's true, that's wretched, and it should end immediately. So excluding them from a public school group that is supposed to help students deal with the trauma of hate crimes is anti-Semitic in effect, if not in intent. Okay, so now we just get the thrust of what this anti-white filth just said. Excluding white people from things might end up excluding non-white people like Jews, and therefore it's wrong. Now, if it can exclude white people without excluding non-white people like Jews, then it's okay. Now you see what Evan is getting at, don't you? Now you see why he's alone and lives in a trash can like Oscar the Grouch and uses bath salts. Because that's what he's worried about. Similar issues are presented regarding white LGBTQ and other excluded students who suffer disproportionately from hate crimes. Okay, so as long, according to Evan, you just saw this here. He writes for Forbes. I'm sure he has a six-figure salary. This is the regime's media writing to white people out there in the world. A lot of them older, a lot of them wealthier, a lot of them hoping they'll be wealthier. All of them prigs who think they're better than everyone else with their noses in the air. And they're going to think, I read from Forbes, and so therefore I'm so much better than those white people over there with the big truck. But of course, they come to the white people with the big truck. Can you fix my car? It's not running again. Can you do the furnace and everything's on fire in the house? Can you call 911, dumbass? Call 911. That's what oh, okay, thank you. It didn't say so in Forbes, though. These are the kind of people that Evan is writing to. And what he has just told them, and what they will now say to you, because they don't get a thought of their own in their head, they're just getting it from Evan, who writes for Forbes, anti-white publication. They're going to say, you know what? The reason why these groups that exclude white people might be bad is because they might end up excluding white people who are part of victim groups like LGBTQ or Jews who look like they're white people. Just like, remember the professor out there on the West Coast, and there was a no white people get to come to college day, no white people, and the Jewish professor shows up and they're like, "What? Get the hell out of here!" And he's like, "What are you talking about? I'm a Jew," he says. And they say, "What? So you're going to get out?" They got a little overzealous that day. They were just going on the pigmentation. So that's what these people are saying. They're saying that if you can just really narrow this down to white male and maybe some of the white females who are straight and preferably who are Christian Catholic, then good. Yes, then you can do this. Then you can persecute and discriminate. But if you are not really tight on those rules, if you're not really carefully looking at things, you might end up harming some good people out there. What do you think about Evan now? Let's jump on over at the 41-minute mark of this hour and look at California's Reparations Task Force. Did you hear that? California's Reparations Task Force. I also heard from a very bright gentleman that in California, they have recently made it illegal to use gas-driven lawnmowers or chainsaws. So looks like you'll be in the weeds in California, or you'll be seeing some hippies out there getting, well, they don't mow their lawns, do they? They smoke them. So, but everyone else are going to be getting electrocuted as they run over their lawnmower's cord, or they end up fiddling with those powerful batteries that can burst into flames. Of course, check with CNN or MSNBC. We'll be reading from MSNBC in a moment, but we'll be hearing about those wonderful batteries that last for, like, the half-life is 500,000 years or something crazy. So they're so good for the environment. They're also so good when they're made. The waste that's produced from those batteries, love the environment. Don't the anti-whites who call themselves environmentalists, the anti-whites who call themselves Democrats, they love the environment. Just poison the shit out of it. That's what they love to do because they love it. Of course, we know it's an excuse to victimize white people in Western civilization, tear it down. That is what they're actually doing. But here we have this article written by Sarah, says California's Reparations Task Force to hear testimony on anti-black. Please keep using that, anti-whites. Please use anti-black, use anti-Jewish, use anti-Asian, use it all. Please use it all. All of this cropping up. Give you all yourselves a pat on the back. I've been at it, as you know, since 1994. And Go Free and actual in distribution more than 15 years ago, and many champions coming on years ago now, and more champions coming on, and we're pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. And you are the reason why these mainstream outlets are now saying things like anti-black. You are the reason why. Don't ever let anybody take it away from you. You are the reason why the world is changing. And anybody who would try to take it away from you, well, maybe they need a very long visit at the dentist after a conversation with you. Says here, anti-black racism, heresy to anti-whiteism in housing and education. So California's Reparation Task Force to hear testimony. This is a real thing. This is a real thing. They are full. What are they chock full of? Now, I know you thought I was going to say dung, maybe that too, but they're also chock full of excuses to victimize you, your wife, your husband, your mother, your father, your children, your cousins, your brother, your sister. They're here to victimize, and they got excuses out the wazoo, and they're bringing them. The difference is when they're talking to MAGA, when they're talking typical MAGA who we're trying to save, conservatives who we're trying to save, patriots who we're trying to save, constitutionalists, First Amendment, right to self-defense, on and on, who we're trying to save. When they're talking to these folks out there, what are they going to get from them? They're going to get conversations and arguments and pushback against all of these claims, all of these excuses, all of these lies, pretexts to get to the victimization of us and our people. But guess what? When it comes to us and what we're sharing with the world, empowering the world with, no, you're not going to get pushback on us. We're just going to call you out as anti-white bastards. We're going to say, we don't care what excuse you have. If you have an anti-white conclusion, go to hell. That's the response. Continuing their historic charge. How long ago was it that the so-called journalists gave up journalism? I mean, they just pluck them right out of the field of fiction now, don't they? Just right out of the field. Total fiction. They used to write for like the Inquirer. Wasn't that the magazine back in the day? And you would see like an alien sitting in somebody's living room on the front of it at the checkout counter. That's as close as they made it. Fiction writers, like the third rate, the fourth rate, the fifth rate, never picked up their lousy books, never published. And so now they just said, look, to put this badge on, says journalist, and you're going to write some wonderful fiction for us. It's all going to be inside this anti-white narrative, though. And they said, sure, big money, big house, nice car, sure, I'll do that. Continuing their historic charge. California's Reparation Task Force, their historic charge, really. Wow, Sarah. The first in the nation will meet this Tuesday and Wednesday. They don't actually know which day, actually, because they're not really all punctual people. Anti-whites could be Tuesday, could be Wednesday, whenever you can get here in California, you know? The cars pulling up with the smoke pouring out of the windows, cracked. Not everybody, probably everybody, but not everybody. Cheech and Chong. To hear testimony on housing and education segregation. So, excuse to victimize white people. The impacts of environmental racism. Excuse to victimize white people. Discrimination in banking and the wealth gap. Excuses to victimize white people. Thanks so much. It's the fourth of at least 10 meetings as the group considers the history and impact of slavery. Excuse to victimize white people in the state, and how best to repay Black Californians, capital B, Black Californians, for those injustices. Boy, they are old. Those Black slaves in California, they are old. They are really old. I mean, that's a long time to be alive. There's somebody's doing right by them to live for all that time in slavery. Wow. All right. So they're saying actual slaves must be, because they couldn't possibly be saying many generations later. Or is that what they're saying? Ask CNN. Quote, we're moving more towards, it's actually toward, boy, these people and their bath salt usage, detailing some of the contemporary crimes against Black Americans, capital B, the contemporary crimes, okay? Like the entire, like all of the jobs that they're hiring. How many white people out there? I'll just ask, how many white people listening to my voice, you and the whites you know, have not gotten jobs because the companies are bragging about their diversity hiring? How many times have we seen? Every single quarter, both small town restaurants all the way up to international corporations are bragging about all the diversity hires. And when you have a diversity hire, you have what? A diversity fire. And there's only one kind of person that you can either not hire or fire, and that's whitey. So the crimes against them, all the set-asides in government, all the farmers. Remember the Black farmers thing is being held up in court now. We'll see where it ends up going. Remember that? Only Black people, they're going to get their own banks and everything. We read the bill, remember? We read it. They voted on it and passed it. But, of course, check with MSNBC or CNN to make sure that's accurate. Get voices from all sides. You get voices from healthy people and also from those things swirling around the toilet bowl. Get them all. Get all the voices. They echo a little bit over there, but no big deal when they're in the toilet. Contemporary crimes, specifically, this brilliant person is going to really break it down for us. Discrimination in public and private life, close quote. Really, one example. Well, this guy, he kind of looked at me with a strange face. He was probably wanting to ask you out on a date, so just deal with it. Said Kamala Moore, a Los Angeles. Actually, I'm not sure. I've worked places with lots of Black people, and this name is Camila sometimes. So I'm not sure if this is a Camila or a Camilla, rather. Camilla. Is it Camila or Camilla Moore, a Los Angeles-based lawyer? Oh, a lawyer, of course. Stamped right to the birth certificate, who was elected chair of the task force in June. During this week's meetings, remember, there can never be enough. You can never do enough. We have, how many lifetimes do you have to see? You can never do enough. There can never be enough. There can never be breaking your back, bending over backwards, everything. The women are coming to us and they're saying, come on, you just got to give them more, do more, be deferential more. Give up some more. It's not actually your job. It's not actually your industry, honey, that is getting destroyed by the giving up and the more. So vote for that. I'm going to vote for that. And then they vote for it. And now a couple years later, a generation later, now their children can't get jobs. And now they are getting forced out. They're forced to early retirement because Camila Moore is being the replacement for them. But that's how it works, dum-dums. That's how it works. Keep letting them make these long-range decisions. People who are myopic, very short-sighted, let them make those long-range decisions. It's a smart thing to do. During this week's meetings, the task force will hear from experts. It's always experts. Experts in what? In anti-whiteism, of course. Experts such as, what is this? MRSA? Wow. It's probably some Arab name, and it's Marisa, something like that. But it looks like MRSA, and I would not have that name. Baradaran, with all of those A's. So you got an A separated, you got vowels separated by consonants. So shouldn't it be Bay Ray Day Rain? Or no, Bay Ray Day Ran. But I doubt that's it. MRSA, a University of California, Irvine. Remember when things like this, California Irvine law professor, remember when it meant something good? You're like, oh, California Irvine law professor? We're gonna have some like legitimacy here. And instead, somebody walks in like a peacock and begins telling you how evil the white race is. So this MRSA, a University of California Irvine law professor and author of, quote, The Color of Money. I'm sure they're going to claim it's white. It's all white. It's all just going to white people. Detailing racism, heresy to anti-whiteism in banking against Black Americans also is on the schedule for Wednesday. Okay. Dum Sarah, that is not supposed to be a period. That's supposed to be a comma. How did you and your editors not catch that? Detailing racism in banking against Black Americans also is on the schedule for Wednesday. All right, well, that's my opinion, but good for them. They can be creative. In addition to experts, the task force will listen to testimony from people with direct personal experience, like Kawika Smith, a young Black man who was a plaintiff in a case against the University of California system, arguing that the use of tests at UC campus is the use of tests. There's no way I'm going to read the rest of that sentence and it's going to say what I think it says. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way it says that. There's no way. All right, let me see. Arguing that the use of tests at UC campuses essentially create a two-tier system inaccessible to some students and, quote, rations access to public higher education on the basis of race, privilege, and wealth. No, it's the ability to pass the test, dumbass. That's how it's rationing the education. Oh my God. They actually had a case. Your use of tests. The testing is so right. You need to not have tests because that is discriminatory, preventing us from getting into what we want by way of a test to see if we're competent or intelligent enough or studied enough. How discriminatory. Wow. Kawika. Brilliant. I also want to bring this to you before we take this little break, and then we'll come back to our good friend Baldor for about 30 or so minutes, because we got some great news over there. Going to go over some translations. And then after that, we'll talk with you all and what you all have up here. It's going to be fabulous. But what I wanted to point out is over on MSNBC, where all things are from God himself, or should I say herself, or maybe I should say him, herself. I wonder what that pronoun's going to be. Critical race theory fears are based in lazy racist thinking. So heretical thinking to anti-whiteism. That's all it is. Wow. Gaslighting. No, types this moron over at MSNBC. Critical race theory. Can you hear the on the crack pipe as it types? No, critical race theory isn't a, quote, form of Marxism. No, I agree. It's not. So we have agreement. We have agreement. As the Mississippi Center for Public Policy claims. Well. Let's see. Hayes Brown types away here. Fads come and go in the trenches of the culture wars. But the obsession among Republicans with, it's their obsession. That's what it is. You see? So they're making concern with the anti-whiteism in schools, in government, etc. They are claiming it's an illness now. You're ill for being. So this is obsession. So what would you say in response to this? You're obsessed with it. No, attention is a virtue when it protects the innocent. Stopping anti-whiteism, scumbag. This obsession with Republicans with critical race theory lingers on, though the madness, boy, just could you make it any more obvious that you are trying to make this into some sort of a disease? This paying attention to the anti-whiteism in schools and government and business, though the madness has declined since the peaks of summer, when every other segment on Fox News was barraging. So look at the colorful language, barraging. It's like it's like a volley of musket fire or something, right? Barraging viewers with yet another GOP operative masquerade. So really, who are the conspiracy theorists, you anti-white prigs? The GOP operative masquerading as just another, appropriate for October as we near Halloween. Well done, Hayes Brown. Masquerading as just another concern, pathologizing, though, every bit of resistance against anti-whiteism, pathologize it all. But there's nothing unhealthy about not being able to figure out some very basic things about your anatomy and whether or not you should use all the crack you use. Who was sure, let's see, GOP operative masquerading as just another concerned parent who was sure little Braden was going to get a complex from learning that white people did bad things in the past. So look at this piece of shit, this anti-white piece of shit, minimalizing child abuse of white children, minimizing the child abuse of white children. Oh, is what this anti-white bastard is saying. Oh, is your little boy going to get a complex because he's taught to hate himself? That's what this bastard is saying. This week's version of that freak out, pathologizing it, boy, we could see you guys from a mile away. Of that freak out involves a, quote, Florida mom. So she's not actually a Florida mom. Dirtbag, she's not actually a mother in Florida. Let's see. Quisha King. Oh, nice. Yeah, it's the exact kind of person, I'm sure, that conservatives and Republicans and all, they think this is why we got to save them as we get to the top of the hour, and we're about to take a short break and bring Baldor in. This is why we have to save conservatives, MAGA, patriot, nationalists, First Amendment, right to self-defense, Constitution. This is where we got to save them because they are inside the anti-white narrative, aren't they? And we're going to be talking about this Antiwhite, the movie, a little bit later after we get done with Baldor and some great news. But inside the anti-white narrative, these poor folks trying to put an end to the victimization of white people, some of them overtly, most of them implicitly, they believe the anti-white narrative. They believe all of these pretexts are real, don't they? Every single one of them. And so they think, well, non-white people are really they're more valuable than white people. So if non-white people agree with us, then we have a legitimate point. That's what they think in their dopey ass way, Mayberry moron way, functionally comatose way. And they stay that way their whole lives because they haven't heard from us. But they're going to hear from us and we're going to change things. Get ready, anti-white world, get ready. We're going to change everything. But they think getting a Quisha King out there on the, I could be wrong. I'm just guessing this person is non-white. I could be wrong. But you look it up. Calling for a, quote, mass exodus from public school system, she called for, over the CRT and other alleged liberal, of course, that means anti-white. These are liberals, is a name they take for them, anti-whites take for themselves, overreaches. All right. And then parenthetically, this white child hating bastard writes on that King, Quisha, that is that sounds like the beginning to like a really bad movie, doesn't it? She like slides up at the bar. She's like martini on the rocks. And then the skulking guy beside her, maybe looking like he's from Eastern Europe somewhere. What's your name? King. Quisha. King. That King is also a spokeswoman for the group Moms for Liberty, is apparently incidental. So according to this anti-white here, you cannot, now again, note again, what we say and what we teach in Going Free is accurate. And it's accurate. It comes to this conclusion every single time for the reasons that we give. It's a formula that will work everywhere, right? If you go over to the antique nationalists, you'll get a formula that might work in one scenario, but isn't going to work in the rest. This works everywhere. If you get in the way of anti-whites of any race, and it doesn't matter what your race is, doesn't matter what your religion is, if you get in the way of anti-whites victimizing white people and white erasing Western kind, they will object to you with the same sort of anti-white slurs. They will come after you the exact same way they come after us. It has nothing to do with her not being a liberal, in this sense. It has nothing to do with her. You know, if she's black, I'm thinking she is. Maybe she is. Maybe she isn't. Maybe she's white as snow. I don't know. But nonetheless, she is merely getting in the way of them inflicting injury on white people. And maybe she intends to do that. Maybe she doesn't intend to do that. Maybe she just doesn't want. Maybe she's tired of the government being in the federal government being in everybody's schools, and she's losing her voice in her community. And all she wants is to put an end to the federal government in the schools so that she can have a say in what's, and she should have a say. And it doesn't matter what race she is or what religion she practices, or no religion she practices. She should have a say. But let's say that's the case. She just wants a voice. So she wants to put an end to the CRT, the government being in their schools in their little town. Well, I'm sorry, Quisha, because you are indirectly getting in the way, unintentionally getting in the way of anti-whiteism, of anti-whites inflicting injury on white children. And as we can see from the bastard typing this article, as he huffs on a crack pipe, we can see that he mocks and laughs about white children being victimized. The worst child abuse the world has ever known. Nothing more evil that you could do to a child than to teach them at an age that they believe anything and it sticks with them for life. Nothing more evil than to teach them that their very essence is evil, because you cannot escape your very essence. Very important to mention that. I also want to mention quickly from this article, white privilege is real, reverse racism is not, on this online toilet paper. Even though people of color are not absolved of using prejudice, reverse racism itself is a myth. So this is the gaslighting. This is the inside of the anti-white narrative. This is a great example of why you do not have a debate with them. You do not have a discussion with them. You do not try to talk anti-whites out of it. You do not, with vagues out there who are villainy signaling rather anti-whiteism. You don't try to talk them out of it. You don't try to debate them within the anti-white narrative. You take them right over. You refield the conversation into our story. You speak from our concepts, from our perspectives, and then, by God, like everyone else, thousands so far, you win the day. drowning in the argument, the anti-white says. What exactly is anti-white? You have got to be animated with the righteous passion of reclaiming our destiny. We are the heroes of this era. And we are back. Let me move that off the screen. Don't forget, folks, that you can also financially gift with cryptocurrency. And you can find my wallet for cryptocurrency over on nowhiteguilt.org, nowhiteguilt.org. Look under the financial gifts tab, and there will be the 4 or so different wallets, addresses, as well as a snail mail address, and you can reach out to me that way. And I appreciate everyone who does. Folks, now we're going to bring forward, you know who he is, the one and only Beldor. How are you doing, brother? What's going on?
Oh, I'm doing very well. Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Man. It is so magnificent to have you. Now, what I want to do, I know we have some great news to share with folks about some media coverage over there in Iceland. And we are going to, but first, I think let's jump right into some of these. I think this is the next lot that we have here of translations. Now, folks, if you are unaware, the great Beldor here has translated the lexicon of Going Free into Icelandic for our brothers and sisters there. And you might say to yourself, whoa, isn't it pretty much all white over there? Well, so was the rest of the West. So we need to get to our brothers and sisters there. We need to inoculate them the same way you inoculate your children before they're exposed, because the exposure is happening in an increasing way. And so we need the lexicon in as many languages, all of our languages in the end. But brother, let's pick up. Where did we leave off? And we'll pick right up at that point. And then we're going to be, we'll go through some of these and then we'll get to some of that good news.
All right. We were at the elect of Western kind. By the way, how's my sound?
Perfect.
Okay. So, the elect of Western kind. Úrval vesturkyns.
Oh, that sounds really cool. That is fantastic. Now, the elect of Western kind comes right out of my fiction book, folks, Prometheus Rising, Take Back Your Destiny. Let's hear you pronounce that one more time, brother. That is awesome.
Úrval vesturkyns.
Wow. I'm going to have to get to the doctor and have the rest of my tongue cut away from the bottom of my mouth to be able to do anything like that. That's fantastic. Or maybe if I should say when I come to Iceland and speak, when we get to that point, you can just jump in and say it. So everywhere along the speech, you just jump in and say it for me. That's fantastic. What's the next? And then, by the way, as we go through these, brother, if you have a story associated with how you came to that translation, or struggle or ease, or using it on people that you'd want to share with folks, let us know, man. So let's go to the next one.
All right. The next one is the equivalence fallacy. That is jafngildis rökvillan.
Very challenging. Try that on us one more time, brother.
Jafngildis rökvillan.
Have you had an opportunity to use that?
I can't remember. I might have dropped it. Like, I'm starting to use the lexicon so subconsciously. Like, it's just a part of me now. So it's hard to say. I think I have. I really think I have. Yeah.
Because I know for sure everybody over there is going to be able to get it. You know, they're going to see that, you know, one and one is not like the other. And anti-whites are that's one of their greatest tools, is the equivalence fallacy. But all right, next on our list, brother.
Okay, go free. Gangtu frjáls.
Now this I'm very interested in. Have you used go free, just the phrase by itself, or in marketing, or
I have not. I was thinking about it. I have not. This one was actually quite challenging. So go can be like to go somewhere physically and non-physically, right? Go free, it's non-physical. So when we talk about going somewhere, it's fara. It's the same as in German, fahren. It's only in a physical sense. And so I had to come up with something else. And so ganga, it's actually the same etymology from Proto-Indo-European. I have no idea how it's pronounced, ge or something. But anyway, so gangen, ganga, gek. It's all the same, like in these Western European languages. And so I used ganga. It literally means walk, but you can use it like to go through hardships. Að ganga í gegnum erfiðleika. To go through college. Að ganga menntavegin, etc. And so ganga frjáls, it works. And I've actually asked people just, how would you translate go free? And they think for a moment. And then I suggest ganga frjáls, and they nod, yeah, that might work. And so I think I'm going to go along with it. Ganga frjáls.
All right. That's well, let me ask you this. If you say that as you're saying it now with of the anti-white narrative, will it make sense?
Yes.
Well, that's perfect then. That's it. That's
all right.
Fantastic. Well done. All right. And then going free, that would be just a little change, it looks like.
Yep. Ganga frjáls. Like to
okay. So it's the U and the A.
Well,
all right.
Well, okay. It's maybe not quite accurate. I mean, it depends on the context, but like gangtu frjáls, the former is the like a commandment, like go free.
Yes.
Go free of the anti-white narrative.
Yes.
But
excellent.
Ganga frjáls, to go free, going free. It would also be að ganga frjáls. You know, they are going free. Þeir eru að ganga frjálsir.
Nice. All right. And now we have hate hoax.
Right. It's maybe not perfect. Haturskap. Gap means more like a prank.
Oh.
So it's not as powerful as hoax.
I see. I see.
So it's a bit problematic.
If you were to use it though in the context of something bad, like somebody writing like go back to your country on someone's windshield who's not from Iceland, and then they find out that the actual person who owns the car did that to themselves, and you said that was and then you say it in Icelandic like this. Even though it's not just a prank, it was something serious because this is a non-white person. How would an Icelandic person receive that?
I think I have used it.
Oh.
I mean, they got the message, but like it's not. It might sound like too weak. You get it?
Yes, I do.
Hoax is a very powerful accusation. Like, it was a hoax, but gap. Prank, But I mean, the message got across, which was good, but I am still thinking about this. And apparently in other languages, this is also a problem. In French, for example. So
is in Icelandic, would it be, could you, rather than the gap word, could you use the English word hoax? Or do they know what hoax means? Could you use the Icelandic word and then the English word?
Haturs hoax. I might. Haturs hoax. Yeah.
Potentially. I mean, if they...
Possibly, yeah.
I mean, if you got into a scenario maybe with an older... I don't know, is it the older folks who don't speak as much English and the younger people do speak more, or is it the reverse?
Correct, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you could just say it's worse than gap if they didn't know. It's like a prank, but much worse. All right. Well, if anybody has any ideas on that, who is a linguist or speaks the language, put it in the thread under the video. That way, Baldur would be sure to see it. Otherwise, let's move on to heresy.
Yeah, and please tag me in the live chat.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Tag Baldur when you do that.
All right. Okay, so heresy, true villa.
Wow, that's cool. That could almost be like somebody's name, but you didn't name them. All right, so heresy. Have you? And I guess it seems like it's like a direct translation, is it?
Yes.
Perfect. So that's going to work perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
And now we have hush crime. Now you have a bunch here.
Yeah, I'm still testing this one.
Okay.
Sussuglæpur, the first one, might sound. I don't want to say cringe. You don't like that word.
Oh, right.
Like, no, not cringe. Like, just doesn't like hit home. Like, sus is something you say to kids. Sus.
Okay.
But the next one is something I've actually used. Bælingsglæpur.
And how is that different?
Að bæla, the verb að bæla, means like to swipe under the rug.
That's yes. Okay.
Mm-hmm. But people don't quite get it like instantly. So, and that's why I tried the third one, Baldur Glæpur. I know it looks like my name, but it's Baldur. Baldur Glæpur. So a crime that is being suppressed or hushed up, like. But it's
yes.
And then the fourth one.
What's the fourth one?
I'm sorry. Dulins-glæpur. But I don't like that one. I'm gonna go with bælingsglæpur, and then if they don't get it, then I'll just translate it. Hush crime, like act like it's a part of the lexicon already in Icelandic, you know.
All right. Yeah. That's always the folks. Everybody out there who wants to translate the lexicon into the different languages, when there is an issue with a really strong linkage in the translation, just use the English and then describe the concept, because white people won't have a problem understanding. We pick up concepts in other languages all the time. Perfect. All right. What do we have? Imperative mandate.
I'm reading.
Or interpretive mandate. Yeah. Interpretive mandate. Yeah.
Yeah, that's túlkunartilskipun.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one to say. Wow. What a pretty language, though. Challenging to speak. How do the children ever learn? All right, meme.
Okay, that's just meme.
Is it really? My gosh, what anticlimactic we've gone through all of this. We've had like these.
I tried these. Go ahead.
Gymnastics with the mouth, and then it's just meme. Okay.
All right. I tried hegðunarstef. That's something I found online. Hegðunararfgengni, but forget it. Like, forget it. I'm just going to say meme. Hegðunararfgengni. No. People are.
So is it in your typical abridged dictionary in Icelandic?
No. However, it can be inflected. And so it's like the word lim, which means like a glue. Lim.
Okay.
Meme.
Okay.
So it works.
All right.
And then you can also create a verb, að mima, to meme.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That sounds like a versatile tool. Nice. Now, meme pathogen.
Meme skaðvaldur.
So I'm guessing that pathogen is a really easy translation. It's like direct, is it? Or no?
Sort of, yeah. Skaðvaldur, yeah.
So if they can get meme, then pathogen should roll right along with it. Perfect.
Maybe not quite, now when I think of it.
Not as easy as English, but
Skaðvaldur is like it's not quite pathogen. Well, pathogen is something that causes disease, correct?
yeah.
Skaðvaldur is something that causes harm. Well, skaði. I'll think about this.
Well, we can come back to that one.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, then you have the meme pathogen montages. So that's something that is going to then end up being subject to whatever you end up doing with the pathogen. But how do you say that, just out of curiosity?
Meme skaðvalda samþættingar.
Nice. I have to say that I feel for all of the military personnel in Iceland who have to do the Morse code. I hope they never have to. I can only imagine how long it would take for them to do.
We don't have a military.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe that's why. They're like, screw this. We're not going to be able to communicate anything rapidly. It's just going to be beautiful or not at all. All right. Well, okay. So that then, of course, is going to be, subject. So, and then we have meme curative as well. How does that go?
Meme heilsubót.
Now, a curative, does this translate as a medicine? Does it translate? How does it?
No, heilsubót is like health benefit, or boat is something that
better. Yeah, that's exactly right. Good.
Okay.
That is exactly right. Very good. All right. How about mercenary?
Málaliðin, just straight from the dictionary.
Oh, good. Nice and strong. I like that. And now there's something that we are forced to do, which is multiracial harmonizing. This is a very important one to know, folks.
Fjölkynþáttaleg samhljómun.
Wow. One more time, nice and slow.
Fjölkynþáttaleg samhljómun.
Now, have you had an opportunity to try this on anybody?
Yes.
Oh, wow. What happened? Did they get it? Did they?
Yeah, it just shuts them down.
Oh, perfect. My God, what a great news. Yes. I mean, we have all of these anti-white, obedience training courses everywhere. It's constant. We have to put all of this money and time and our energy and intelligence into this. This is forced multiracial harmonizing. And it obviously, the multiracial environment is a great weakness because it takes so much effort, so much money, so much to make it harmonized, to make it work. It doesn't really become harmonious at any point because you're being forced incessantly to try to make it work. It obviously, if it were this great benefit, then it would just work of its own accord. It would just like an anthill and a colony of ants. They just work like a beautiful machine or a Lamborghini motor. I mean, it just, you don't need to constantly tinker the brand new Lamborghini motor or tinker with it to make it work properly. It is really powerful, the multiracial harmonizing, and I'm glad it translates perfectly into Icelandic. Why don't we take a little departure from there for a moment? And folks, I want to show you this. Let's see if I can just go straight to the share screen and see if it'll come up for everybody. We are going to share, and then Baldur is going to explain to us this article. And let's see, what is it under here? It's under the language that I couldn't possibly read. Here we go. There we go.
You still have the lexicon up.
Okay, I can pull that down. And right there. All
Okay.
right, there we go. Take a look at this, ladies and gentlemen. We are being written about in Iceland, the wonderful country. The anti-whites doing their best to try to deal with these stickers that are interesting. Baldur, like I guess Franklin, finding stickers and posters and everywhere. It's amazing. It's the luck we have. It's like we just grow 4-leaf clovers here. And so tell us about this article online. And is this also a printed or is it just online news source?
I don't read this garbage media.
Okay.
I just saw this online, came across it, and it reads, should I translate it just to English or?
I guess so, yeah.
Okay, something like racist messaging on lampposts in this town, Garðabær.
Garðabær. That's as close as I'm going to come. All right. Now the verbiage here is up to you, brother.
Wow, look at that. Nathaniel Nelson commented. Can you see that?
Oh my gosh.
In Icelandic. I can't believe it. Wow.
I can't believe it either. What did he write? What a coincidence. Well, let's have a translation of this article, brother. What do they try to say about us?
Yeah, I have it here. So it reads, quote, the anti-white narrative is built on lies.
Okay, well, let me stop you really quickly. Folks, do you see what just happened? The anti-whites, all the way up in Iceland, how far are they from you? Same everywhere. Anti-whiteism is same everywhere. And these concepts are constructed in a way to compel them, even when they want to lie about us, to have to get into our story. So this author just used a concept that undermines their argument, that undermines their position, something that if they had any sense, they wouldn't be doing, but they have to do it in order to communicate. So please continue, brother.
Okay. So that is, the anti-white narrative is built on lies, end quote, is written on stickers which have been stickered around this town. A resident in the neighborhood gave attention to the stickers on a Facebook group. This, quote, this garbage has been stickered around town. I encourage everyone to have their eyes open. Watch lampposts carefully and other places where this has been placed and take it down.
Watch the lampposts carefully. Can you see this old biddy? Well, she's just watch the lampposts. What are they doing at night, the lampposts? Okay, so watch the lampposts, take the stickers down. So what she's done is Streisand effect. My God, nobody else just wags the anti-white media like we do. It happens in Canada. It happens in numerous your provinces in Canada. It happens in numerous states in the United States. It happens in Australia. It happens in Iceland. Folks, this is happening all around the world. We are wagging the anti-white media. They've got infinite number of dollars, and we have outwitted them. And look at this. Look at this way that they end up behaving after they run across these stickers. Now, folks are going to be reading this in this wonderful little town, and I'm sure cold, but wonderful little town. And they're going to be wondering, they're going to be looking at lampposts, not to tear them down, but because they're going to want to know what it's all about. They're going to want to know what this anti-white narrative thing is, especially the youth. They're going to say, well, what's that all about? That our elders don't want us to look at, that this church lady wants to tear down, wants us to watch the lampposts. Watch the lampposts. All right, so what else? I interrupted. I apologize. That was hilarious, though.
No, fine. Okay, she continues, quote, also talk to your children because these pieces of filth are spreading this around everywhere. A lot of these stickers downtown, she adds. And then this talentless typist writes, the stickers include a QR code and a link to a website owned by Jason Köhne. But according to a quick Google search, he is the author of a few books that exalts white people above others.
Ooh, now look what they've done. Look at the gigantic error. My gosh, folks, seriously, we have just female dog slapped this author, not even knowing who they are, all the way up there in Iceland with the great Baldur up there in Iceland. We've got them now watching the lampposts, right? And this author, this talentless typist, as Baldur accurately points out, has just told everybody my name. And now they're going to be able to look it up, and they're going to be able to see, is that what he really says? Is he really exalting white people over other races? Is that really what it is? And then when they come across the fact that, no, that's actually not what is said, what happens to their confidence in this rag, in this online rag? And then, of course, maybe they stick around. Maybe they begin using the lexicon. Maybe they're watching right now. Maybe they'll be watching in replay, and they'll see the great Baldur, one of their own, translating, and they'll think to themselves, wow, this is actually not some sort of an evil thing whatsoever. This Köhne guy doesn't seem to be anything like they want me to believe him to be. Wonder why they are having me just watch the lampposts all day long. I wonder what else she does when she's watching the lampposts. I'm sure counting the aliens that fly by, and what else happens to this poor lady's life. Watch the lampposts. Is there anything else there, or is that the end of it?
Nah, just
the response. Well, that's fantastic. And a big thank you to the one and only Nathaniel Nelson for chiming in over here. What is this author's, this talentless typist name here?
Magnus H. Jonsson.
So this sounds like a male name, is it?
Yes.
Okay. So, boy, Magnus, you just got screwed over. You just got bitched. You just got chumped. And the great thing is that you're gonna fall for it again. You'll fall for it again and again. And this is magnificent. And whoever this is, let's get a big round of raucous emojis, folks, together for whoever this person is that are putting stickers up on these lamp. Maybe it's the lampposts themselves. Maybe that old lady's right, and the lampposts are doing it. And it's a conspiracy of lampposts or lamppost workers or whatever. Whoever they are, they definitely deserve a raucous round of emojis. For the great work that they are doing. Look at this. Isn't that lovely little place? And they're getting their eyes over. They're going to be inoculated against anti-whiteism. Boy, Magnus, please write more about us. Please put my name out there more. Please use more of our concepts in your article. It's almost like anti-whiteism is a single thing the world over. Oh, it is. Okay. So that's why that happens. That's why one remedy to it works the world over. Isn't that something, folks? All right. Let's jump back to what? No, let me get before we jump back, I'll find the words again. And what are your thoughts on that, brother? You have anything you want to share?
Yeah. So Nathaniel made a good point. So they prove the point of the stickers, the messaging, by lying.
Precisely. Exactly. That's a great point by Nathaniel. They prove that point by lying. Oh boy. And the more of these sorts of things that folks get out there and do, and the more that the anti-white media Streisand affects the heck out of us, the more and more people that will come to the work that we're doing. So it won't matter that all of these different platforms are shadow banning us and as best as they can. It won't matter, because we will trick. And folks, I have long before, as I helped other organizations, by the way, just so folks should know, as I helped other organizations over the years, I tricked anti-whites many times. I was known for coming up with ways to trick them. I would get people in different organizations to help. And there were some, I don't want to necessarily say which ones. I don't want to associate necessarily with people and groups that maybe went different directions after my association with them. But I tricked the media beautifully, tricked anti-whites in general beautifully, outwitting them over and over again. And we're just going to do this all the way to the recapture of our destiny. So it is magnificent.
Right. Before you put them up again,
okay.
I just want to say, so there was another hit piece, not on you.
Oh,
not on you. Just it was like a so it was they used guilt by association. So they mentioned these stickers in another video footage. This was the evening news.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Except they did not display this sticker. They only displayed stickers by Antinats and another group. Well, you know that group. It has the word resistance in it. They are sort of active here in Iceland.
Okay.
They were not like saying anything, disgusting about other groups, just displaying their insignia,
Yes.
But there were some Antinats who are not a part of that movement. Okay. Just some individual independent Antinats who were displaying antiquated signs. That particular sign, the cross,
Yes.
That was spray painted on the floor of some mall in the capital, and they displayed that sign with some ominous music in the background, like really creepy music.
Oh my gosh.
And displaying these stickers by that resistance.
Yes.
And they then mentioned this sticker that we were talking about, but of course they did not display it. Right, just guilt by association.
Yes, and that is marvelous. That it is such a tell for everyone who's wondering what works. Where should they go? Where should they put their effort in service to white well-being when they want to recapture our destiny? They want to put an end to the victimization of Western kind. We saw the same thing with Lane Sabatino's beautifully painted objects. That what did the author have to do? The author had to go to like a year earlier and several towns over where somebody hung some sort of a flag, and that is what they can easily demonize, because those people are thinking ugly, awful things. But when the media endeavors to do this, when the anti-whites in the media endeavor to do this, there are going to be folks who are going to end up coming to our website. They're going to end up seeing what we have to say. They're going to see that, in fact, we are the exact opposite of those sorts of endeavors. They're white negative. We're white positive. And so it does two things. Simultaneously, it is evidence that we have the path that is where it doesn't mean that it's going to forever and only be the only thing that works. It is the thing that's working first time ever, though, for Western kind. And it works so well that the media has to include what does not work for putting an end to the victimization of white people to attempt to demonize us. So that's beautiful. But simultaneously, not only does it tell everybody what works and what doesn't work, but simultaneously, it will reveal to a certain portion of those who are see the story, read the story, watch the story, who will end up coming over and looking at our website, looking at like what we're doing here on YouTube, and they will come to some very different conclusions. And can you imagine? Just imagine it's like we say in that sort of byline there. It's the best kept secret to saving the West, going free, is when people begin communicating. Hey, we saw that spot on TV about this Ant-Nat thing, and then there was that other group of people or whatever they mentioned. I went and checked it out. That group is actually nothing like what they said. That's going to engender interest. People are going to say then, really, well, what's it all about then? And I wonder why the government was trying to associate the two. I wonder why the media was trying to associate the two. So fantastic. Thank you for mentioning that news spot as well, because again, it is just like what we're seeing. And we saw the same thing in Canada as well, and Australia, news stories there as well. Same exact sort of attempt to conflate what does not work for putting an end to anti-whiteism with what does work for putting an end to the victimization of Western kind. God bless you, brother. That's magnificent. Let's do a few more words. Where'd we leave off?
Hold on. Wasn't it multiracial harmonizing? But I wanted to ask you about that, because this is very hot at the moment.
Okay.
For lack of a better word. Like,
hit me up.
What message would you give to whoever's putting up these stickers? Like, what's the next step, in your opinion?
To posting stickers or posters
or leaflets or something. Yeah.
Well, I would without question, it's working. People are going to be looking for these things. They're going to be looking at the lampposts. And just as she has admonished everybody to look at the lampposts, watch them closely. Yeah, I would become adept, as I have in the past with leafleting and stickering and the rest, of walking up to a thing and looking quite normal, and then walking away, and what do you know? There's something there. Maybe it was there a moment ago, sort of like a magic trick. And yeah, I would want to get these things up where people would indeed be seeing them now that they're looking for them, now that it was mentioned in the news. And especially where you're going to find people who are of the mindset, usually younger adults, who are of the mindset of pushing back against the stodgy authority, especially the church lady type who just wants to shut down everything that the state does not does not demand of the public and require of the public.
Okay, would you change the message, or
what was the message on it exactly? Did it say
the anti-white narrative is built on lies?
Anti-white narrative is built on lies. Well, maybe you could whoever's doing this could keep it as anti-white narrative is built on lies, or maybe take a different like a different meme curative, like Hollywood. Everybody in Iceland knows what Hollywood is, I'm sure. Hollywood isn't history. NoWhiteGuilt.org. So now it would be something that would be more an MC that would have a wider appeal, something that is a little bit a little less arcane, maybe, and a little bit more acceptable. Yeah, something like Hollywood isn't history, NoWhiteGuilt.org, because they'll still be, they're looking now. So thank you to that lady. Oh, I wish I could send her a box of roses. Yeah, they're going to be looking now. So maybe something like that as well. One of the other meme curatives.
Yeah, funny coincidence. Anti-white and loser rhymes in Icelandic. Andhvítingi and aumingi.
Oh, wow.
That might go along.
Yes. Yeah, if they rhyme, yeah, absolutely use them together. The anti-white losers. Hollywood isn't history. And anti-white losers. The anti-white losers are run Hollywood. Hollywood isn't history. NoWhiteGuilt.org. And then we'll watch that poor author wet himself, and that lady go nuts. I just shudder for what she might do to her cats. Anything else, brother, or a couple more words?
I think we're done on this article. We can just go back to the words.
All right.
Okay. So mutual discomfort. Yeah, it's not really part of the lexicon. I just put it there.
Okay.
So like biospiritual
yes,
disharmony causes mutual discomfort. It's
yes.
Gagnkvæm óþægindi.
And does it land as it's individuals or groups, or both individuals and groups? Does it work for
both?
Really?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Then that's fantastic. Great. How about no white guilt?
Yeah. Engin hvít sektarkennd.
Nice. Now, does that make sense to folks?
So this is the first case. If you are like, if it's a slogan, then it would be the second case. That's enga hvíta sektarkennd. Like a slogan, thou shall have no white guilt. Enga hvíta sektarkennd.
That is fantastic. So if you were to put that on if somebody in Iceland were to say, maybe have a billboard or stickers or whatever, and they were to write no white guilt on it, how would the population respond to reading that?
Depends.
But they would get that it has something to do with our people.
Oh, they know what white guilt means, the concept of white guilt. Yeah, it's known to them. But a lot of Icelanders say, something like, oh, I have no white guilt. And then they'll spew some meme pathogen, right? I mean, it's so subconscious and they don't realize it's sad.
Oh.
So,
it is sad. It's the same way all over the world. And that's why we have to save all these people. Let's do the two more here. And they'll be the last two for this interview. And folks, we're going to have Baldor back for these types of interviews every month. And we'll be doing a chunk of words. Today we have non-white as an adjective and non-white as a noun.
Yeah, the former is óhvítur.
Okay.
Óhvítur. And the second is óhvítingi.
Okay. Now, this interests me because I'm guessing that in Iceland, they don't already call non-white people non-white, or nope. Do they?
No. They use the mean pathogen, which the one that excludes us from humanity.
Oh my gosh!
Really? They have translated that one. Sure, yeah.
Oh, that is terrible.
Mm.
So, golly, could you imagine, folks, up in Iceland? That's what they're using. That's our people, folks. That is just we fall for such nonsense. So, what happens? Have you? I'm assuming you have used non-white in Icelandic with folks, and how did they take that?
Totally neutral. It just slips right past them.
Really?
Yeah, very good.
Oh boy, that is fantastic news. That is really fantastic news. That's exactly how it's supposed to work. It's completely neutral. It's just meaning that the person or people are not white. There's nothing negative about it. So you're not getting any sort of negative response from the folks. Beautiful. And have you used it with multiple people and in contexts yet?
Not sure. No. I mainly focus on us. I try to focus on us. But if the conversation leads to non-whites, then I will try to use it. Yeah.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Let's actually do, before I let you go, let's also do numerical courage and numerical diffidence, because this is what, especially in Iceland, they really need to appreciate and understand. Our brothers and sisters in Iceland really need to appreciate numerical courage and numerical diffidence. So let's do numerical courage first.
Okay, that is tölulegt hugrekki.
Okay, and now numerical diffidence.
It's either töluleg hógværni or óframfærni.
Okay.
I use hógværni.
Yeah. Oh, okay, and you've used it, and because this is the reason why it's so important, folks, is because you have these countries, you have these towns still in Western countries where they have the one non-white guy at school or gal, and they're wonderful people, and so you have to be able to explain to them what's the difference between having, one of their best who is numerically diffident and conforming to our norms, and then how that changes once they reach numerical courage. So have you had the opportunity to use these in exchanges?
Yes.
Great. What were the outcomes? How did it go across?
Vagues, they don't say anything, but anti-whites, they deny it.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
So the vagues it's just landing on them, and therefore, could be taking root. It ends up these things, they end up being something that people use then. Of course, the anti-whites are I bet they were pretty aggressive with their denial of it, because they know it's the truth. I mean, they know that. I mean, you can look to so many of the other countries in Europe and see what happens once you have numerical courage. You can't explain that away. And for everybody out there who's looking to translate the lexicon into other languages, you keep this, especially these two, in mind, that how powerful they are. You really want to communicate these concepts, because our brothers and sisters need to understand these concepts: numerical diffidence and numerical courage. White people fall for it all the time. You get the actual best of right of bell curve, wonderful people, moral people from whatever different group, and they show up and they live wonderful in town and they contribute and everything, and they don't understand how it goes from that to looking like Beirut and why that happens. So very important. Yeah, the more you use that with folks, brother, let us know how the conversations go, and if it's really igniting their understanding of how that transition is made.
Yeah, I will. Yeah.
Well, this has been fantastic. You came on, we did, I think, 20 words or so, and we got a great story out of it as well. It couldn't be happier, brother. Any final words before we let you go for this time on Going Free?
Yeah, I was going to give out shout outs to people who have helped me translate the lexicon into many different languages.
Yeah.
Okay, here it is. Well, first of all, not related to the lexicon, but John Malt, who's here in the live chat, he's helping me with a School of the West project on operations research, just like maximizing profits, minimizing costs. So that's exciting.
Yes.
And thank you, Brent Danger, for giving me this honor. It really is an honor. I think the School of the West can really take off in the future.
Yeah, really is.
So now the lexicon, Iberian Rider, Masumi Rabbit, and Mr. V. Special thanks to them for the Spanish translations. They did them all independently, folks.
Wow. Folks, let's get a really raucous round of emojis for Baldur and all of the champions that he just named, all of the hard work that they're doing. Bless you. Promethean hails. That is magnificent.
Yeah, we're not done. Mr. V also had the Portuguese, and Iberian Writer also had the German, the Catalan, and Italian.
Wow.
And Vincent Coco, I think that's French, for his French translation. And,
well, that is splendid.
And, like comedies last week had the 5 key concepts in Norwegian. So this is really taking off, and I'm very excited about it.
Oh, that is epic. That is completely epic. This is what's going to save us, folks. It's going to happen in too many countries for the anti-whites to be able to put it down. God, that is fantastic. Anything else? Don't want to miss anybody.
That's it for the shout-outs.
Okay. Well, Baldur, you are amazing. They are amazing. Thank you, everybody, for the raucous emojis, celebrating these people. These are doers. These are self-starters. We are men and women of the West. We built the West. We are the people who are responsible. We are the and I'm not talking about all white people. There are doers, and there are observers. There are even in our own communities. There are people that get out there and make it happen, and those are the kind of people that are drawn to what's happening here. We're going to be the ones who are equivalently building, the next, cityscape where there was never such a thing. We are the people who are going to be responsible for that. They'll look back and they'll say, just like they talk about like the industrialists transforming the world, they're going to look back and it'll be this community transforming the world. So God bless every single one of you. Big Promethean hails to you, Baldur. And we will talk to you again next time. All right?
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you. Right. And Promethean hails.
Promethean hails.
Bye-bye.
All right. Really quickly, folks, I want to mention the Going Free Clubs again. Right here, second edition, iteration 2, now available. You can get it for no cost if you already have iteration 1 of the second edition on Kindle. And it says here again on page 179, you may also form a Go Free Club, GFC. These clubs may meet virtually, in person, or both. While GFCs are not centrally organized, run, or operated by Jason Köhne, they will be recognized if they operate according to Going Free protocol. The sole purpose and function of GFCs is to facilitate and expedite the process of going free, practicing the exercises, lexicon, and dialectics of going free, as well as organizing the spread of going free online and by way of flyer drops. This is your opportunity. You can form a GFC, and you can begin having you can get a bunch of people together who are all going free. You can have your picnics, you can have your family get-togethers, you can have your meetings. These are clubs, and just as I read the purpose of them for, and they can be so much more for you and those who are going free, both in your area to be able to meet IRL in a way that is safe, that is legal in every single Western country. It's totally still legal to be a Westman, man, woman, or child. That's what you are. But when you're born, you don't have a religion, you don't have a citizenship, you have nothing when you're born except your biospirit. So you are a Westman, man, woman, or child, not illegal yet. You're a patriot of your country. You'll hang the flag of your country or whatever it might be if you're going to have a flag, if you're going to have an anthem if you're going to pledge allegiance or something to a flag at your club get-togethers, it'll be to your national flag. This is the safest way that normal white people can get together for everything. You could get together for bowling. You could get together. So many different things that can be done as a community. You can begin building these communities centered on GFCs, Going Free clubs, and you're not going to end up being hounded out of your community. You don't have to conceal that there's nothing weird. You're not practicing a weird religion. You're not practicing some weird economic or political ideology. And this will be the way to be in healthy company, in a healthy community. Everybody has been looking for this. The time is now. Let's start making it happen. You can start your GFC right now. You don't need me to say, okay, you can start one. You could start it right now. You could start it online. You could reach out to people, and it could be like a Telegram group. It could be a GFC that allows people to participate from anywhere around the world in the Telegram group. It could be something that is only for your state or your couple of counties or your province or whatever it might be. But now's the time to get started and to build community. So the questions about where to go. Going Free will continue as it is designed to work everywhere. It'll work at your church. It'll work in other groups that you are a member of. It'll work in your lodge. It will make you a better person. It will make those places, those environments, better places for our people. Even if their stated purpose is for our people, they're still not as successful. It's just reality. It's just reality. They're still not as successful as the psychological defense for the psychological warfare that's waged against us. So it will still be able to operate in all of these environments. But if you think to yourself, well, I got an option. I could go participate with Group A that represents some sort of villain in the anti-white narrative, or Group B that is some sort of, I don't know, like esoteric or something weird environment that if family and friends and work find out about Group A, I'm instantly fired and ostracized. If they find out about Group B, well, they're going to think I'm a kook. Well, or you could have GFCs, and absolutely completely normal. Well, what happens there? Well, we talk about the things that are going on in the world, but we use words like anti-white to describe the people that are victimizing us. and we empower ourselves this way. We protect our children. We just want to put an end to anti-whiteism. And it's open to everyone of every immutable characteristic. The only way that I will be recognizing any of these is if they operate by the standards of white well-being, of going free, which means that it's open to everyone of all immutable characteristics. Now, I don't know how many of folks of other races will want to participate because we have them online, but I don't know if they're going to end up actually being in your community where you live. But nonetheless, unlike all of these others, folks of all immutable characteristics are welcome to participate. We'd love for them to participate. Really says a lot about their character, because you live in they're living in an age where they can just keep their mouth shut and keep, I guess, many, I'm not going to say all, of course, but receiving the benefits of an anti-white environment as they are used as tools to victimize Western kind of Western civilization. But the good folks and far-seeing folks of all races can see that they're ending up being collateral damage to what's being done to Western kind of Western civilization. They can see that it's just an immoral thing to do, to target a people like that. This awful writer who was trying to minimize teaching white children that the very essence of their being is evil. There are good non-white people who are going to say, no, that's absolutely wrong. And they're going to step up in front of the white child. We love those people. We want them to show up. And then there are going to be non-white people who are far-seeing, and they're going to say, good God, we're going to lose all of these freedoms that we enjoy, all of the liberty, everything that made Western civilization so wonderful, the reason why we went to the West, or our parents or grandparents or whatever it might be. We're going to lose it all if this continues. These people will want to participate. They can. GFCs are going to be legal everywhere, at least for the foreseeable future. And they're based in love, hope, and redemption, and putting an end to anti-whiteism, which ultimately victimizes every person of all backgrounds. The thing that we're not going to do, and we'll talk about in a minute, is we're not going to pretend like this is something else, that it's just an abstraction that's being attacked. So I guess we'll move right into your comments and financial gifts. And then we're going to talk about the Antiwhite, the movie, and the folks who are behind that. Let's see what you all have to say over here on Entropy. And it's great to see so many of you all. Raymond over there clapping his head off on D Live. Wonderful. Thank you so much, brother. And a big hello to the folks over there on Odysee. Let me see. Swivel around this way, and I'm going to see what you all are saying over here in just a moment. But let me refresh this. What a glorious night! I mean, how many different countries and continents do you have to see a set of psychological tools for defense that defeat the psychological warfare that's been waged against us for well over 100 years? How many different places do you have to see it work before you say, well, holy shit, I guess this is it. I guess we found it. I guess we better just full steam ahead, as we say in America. We're going to put the coal to it. Put the coal to it, pedal to the metal, and we're going to make it happen. It works everywhere. It works in various languages of our people. So time to just go ahead and press forward. And it's going to upset some people. There are a lot of egos that are out there that are not very happy about that, but too bad. Too bad. Get over it. J.M. Johnson. And tell everybody, by the way, tell everybody, and everywhere you go, this works in different languages, different languages that we use as Western kind. It works in different countries. It's been showing to work everywhere. What more do you need? J.M. Johnson, financially gifting $75. God bless you, brother. Thank you so very much. Let's get a big round of raucous emojis for J.M. Johnson, who is stepping up to get us started, financially gifting $75. So glad you decided to figure out how to save us. Oh, that's nice. Love you, Jason. Well, much love back. Thank you so very much for that. I'm a player in a grand story that we all are writing. And I very much appreciate your appreciation for my efforts, because I got to tell you, it's been rough at times. And I mean, now it's no cakewalk. We are, some of the biggest struggle is against these people who claim to want to put an end to the victimization of our people, and then spend all their days attacking yours truly and misrepresenting and etc. So, so thank you so much for your appreciation, your words. I can feel the sentiment and that financial gift that you gave. That's wonderful. But you and I, we are shoulder to shoulder, and I thank you for everything that you are doing in service to White Wellbeing, and I thank you for being with us, because if it weren't for all of us, it wouldn't be happening. I could talk myself hoarse. I've done it, and have nothing happen. I could be out there passing out the leaflets until I couldn't anymore. Nothing's happened. So it's because we are coming together as a community and saying enough is enough. That's how we're all going to be able to lean on each other, and we're going to get there. It's like the proverbial story that, it's the ones that were counted out. Those anti-whites oligarchs that print money, and they are obviously, they look at us and they wouldn't even think a minute, right? And you have these people in the white sympathetic sphere that their metric for success is imitating something from the antique shop or something analogous, and they spit at us. Nothing's going to come from them, even though the victories are just mounting victory after victory. So it is really the proverbial case of those that everyone else didn't think could make any change. They didn't have any power. They didn't have any wealth. They are not imitating some antique store or whatever it might be, or some kooky, worship of whatever. They're not doing those things. So therefore, nothing's going to come of them. And meanwhile, we are changing the world. God bless you, J.M. Johnson. So glad you decided to figure out how to save us. Love you, Jason. Thank you. So actually, it's very meaningful. Thank you. Ron Boardman, financially gifting $10. God bless you. Writes, noble brother, it is almost shocking how easily everyday people take up and use our anti-white. I see people hear it and then use it without skipping a beat. Bravo to you. As an aside, if the no jab, no job demand continues for me, I do have new work lined up. Use us folk of Europeans seed survive. We will. We absolutely will survive. And God bless. Thank God, brother. I'm glad to hear that you have other work lined up. If your employer decides that you're not going to be allowed to work unless you take medicine that you'd rather not have, a vaccine that you'd rather not have, you should be in charge of what goes in your body. If we don't get to decide that, I mean, how long, when it comes to this, how long is it going to be before they say bend over when there's the decision about what goes in your body? So, yeah, thank you so much. And thank you for those great words as well. Yeah, that was the deal when it came to what was said, that people needed to be able to instantly recognize and use, even though these things were not present in the dictionary. Of course, we have found out later that they have been yanked out of the dictionary. Doesn't seem to matter for some strange reason to others. They're still like, well, I don't know, I guess their egos are in the way, and they're like, well, Jason's been pushing it, so ergo don't use it. Very strange. But thank you so much, Ron. Yeah, we're shoulder to shoulder as well, brother. Yiz is with us. And the Yiz, the unifier, financially gifting $5. We're having a small family get together tonight, and I have the stream on for us. Well, hello to Yiz's family. I wanted them to hear what we're about, and what a great topic for them to hear. We are winning. America is going free. We will live to see victory. Keep heart. and a little white emoji. Yes, indeed. Keep heart, sister. And we love Yiz. Her family's list, we love. She's magnificent. What a champion you have in your midst. I know she seems, you know, every time you look at your family member, it's just another family member, right? You don't see the cape that's hanging off of the neck. You don't see the family member flying through the skies. But Yiz the Unifier is one of those superheroes in our day. And thank you so much, Yiz, for everything you do in service to white well-being. The great Irish Ice, another great champion, $5 financial gift. Thank you, brother. Hey, guys, I've been doing a lot of well-being advocacy, engaging with random people and letting them know that assigning white guilt to innocent Westmen for the perceived crimes of the anti-white narrative is not a moral position. Nothing but success. Folks, Irish Ice is a real just champ out there. And you see his facility with the lexicon more and more over the months. He just uses it with such skill, has become such an adept at using it, and getting into these conversations with people, pointing out and letting them know that assigning white guilt to innocent Westmen, just think about this conversation. If you're not skilled enough to have this conversation the way he's crafting it here, you can be. You've got to go free. You've got to study the manual. It's a lifelong thing, like working out and eating right. And then you can be this successful with the lexicon. Imagine Irish Ice talking to a family member that you have had trouble with, or a neighbor, or a coworker, and he says to them that assigning white guilt to innocent Westmen for perceived crimes of the anti-white narrative is not a moral position. What are they going to say to that? Oh, yeah, it is. It is moral to harm people that did nothing wrong. It absolutely is. It is moral to teach white children that the essence of their being is evil. Of course, they're not going to say that. Well done, Irish Ice. Joseph is back here. $3 financial gift. Thank you, brother, and great to see you. Joseph, another real hero, ladies and gentlemen. He writes here, do Icelanders and other Europeans identify with being white? Great question, and it sounds like they do, because he knows what white, he was about, or was saying that they know what white guilt is. So sounds like they do. And Joseph writes, or is Westman better? Now, Westman is one of our terms that we're spreading. And you'll come across ant-nats that do their damnedest. I mean, they don't care about they just relentlessly attack. Talk about, they throw around the word cult. Talk about cultish. You specifically have to meet these litmus tests, or you are just relentlessly attacked by them. Do nothing else with their days, but attempt to destroy that which works. So Westman is, and we're popularizing it, and it works wonderfully. I've used it for many years. People blue and white collar, and I say Westman, and they'll say, what did you say? And I say, Westman, us, Westman. And then they immediately just say, okay. Nobody has ever said, oh my God, that never happens. They say, oh, okay, that makes sense. We're the West, so we're Westmen. Sure. So yeah, brother, spread it, use it. He says, what is the best way to get them to see we are one people with many countries and ethnicities? That's it. And use that phrase. Say, we're one, we are Westmen. We are men and women and children of the West. We have the same biospirit. We have many hues of Western civilization, but we're the only people who build Western civilization, the only people who build Western culture. So we are a single people with many countries. You actually are saying the answer to your question, brother, which is always the sign of a very bright person. Thank you so much, Joseph. TJ, financially gifting $10. Thanks, and great to see you, TJ. Celebrating the white positive Icelandic lampposts and Baldur's great work. Yes, $10 to those lampposts. I mean, who knows? Who knows? Maybe those lampposts just march on the world, and they carry their loving message everywhere. You never know. I mean, usually in the past, you had to be on some sort of psychedelic to see a lamppost marching around. But apparently now in Iceland, it's happening. You can just ask the crazy lady. You got to keep your eye on the lampposts. Watch them closely. She's probably one of those that thinks like, every time I walk near it, the light goes on. I must have magical powers. Thank you, TJ. That's great. The great Mrs. Jezhorst is with us, ladies and gentlemen, financially gifting $10. Thank you so much, Jess. That's wonderful. 3 little heart emoji, white heart emojis. I love it. Thank you. $10. Ron, back again with $3 more. Thank you, brother. And he says, love the Indian corn on the wall behind you. Well, thank you so much for noticing that. Yeah, a little bit of decoration. I don't know which way I got to move. I can't see. Okay, looks like that. There you go. Can you see it's right there. It's got all the little speckled different colors, and it's just decoration for autumn, fall. And I've got some more decoration here. I got too many pumpkins, the little gourd, and then the pine cone. Can you tell that's a pine cone? The painting has never looked so good. The print has never looked so good because all the colors now match. It would look like I intended it. Maybe I did. Who knows? Let's swivel around this way. I'm going to take a look at Cash App, and then I'll see what you all are saying in the live chat, and we will then get to Antiwhite the movie and Maggie and what's going on with that. We have the great Anglo-America. And it, well, look at the screen. It says Anglo-America. Says, I donated on Cash App, Jason. Yes, you did. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate it. $5 financial gift from Anglo-America. Great to see you, brother. It's really good to see you. And right here, wish everyone happy English American Heritage Day. I didn't even know that was a thing. But yes, happy English American Heritage Day to everyone in America. $5. Thank you so much, Anglo-America. I really appreciate it. And we jump on up here, and we have Bryce financially gifting $1. Thank you, brother. And he's got his new channel out there with a name that's easier for us English speakers and people with their tongues still partially tied to the bottom of their mouth. He writes, continue promulgating the essential message. And he gives a thumbs up. Absolutely, brother. Continue promulgating the white well-being message. Absolutely. Keep moving that direction. Keep going free. You got to stick with it. You got to stick with the practice. Your copy should be all beat up looking. You could have a nice copy. Well, actually, don't beat up your electronic device if you're reading on a Kindle. But you can write you should be able to write in the Kindle or your Kindle app and make notes. It's a workbook. You're supposed to work with it like a workout. We have I Love Jesus Christ. God bless you, sweet lady. $10 financial gift. Thank you so much. And she says, for white well-being. How beautiful is that? Thank you. She's always here. She's always here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. And a great champion. Let me turn around and see what you all are saying. It's actually getting a little chilly in here. So I might have to do a brief something so that we can, we'll just like put a little stopper there, and then we will turn off the AC, and we will come right back.
Exactly what people think, and this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Yes, we have some more champions to hear from, and we're going to move along. We're going to hear from those champions in a moment. You folks who have financially gifted, and it looks like we have some questions over here in the question widget. We'll get to what is going on with this Antiwhite the movie. Let's see if we can share screen it. And I don't know. I don't think I will play the video because I don't want to run afoul of. Let's see, where is that? I think it's here. All right, there we go. And this is over at, where's that website? Antiwhitemovie.com. And have you all heard of this yet? Anti-White movie coming out. This is by some folks, and it seems like the real face of it is her name Maggie, and she is Fog, and I'll share this with you all, Fog City Midge on YouTube. I will share all of that with you here in a moment. But what they are doing is right now they are crowdfunding for this movie that they would like to make. But what are they going to make? That's the big question, isn't it? Journalist investigates the growing hatred of white people in America. You can head on over there, not yet, head on over there after we're done with the gathering, and you can take a look at the video that they've made for what they would like to talk about. But the big question is, what are they going? She says here, filmmaker across America, from corporations like Coca-Cola to college campuses and the streets of riots across America, and the anti-white hatred down here finds the source of the hysteria. Well, of course, the source of the hysteria is anti-whiteism. And this is what we've been doing for a very long time here. So we can help to inform these good people. They are identifying that there is anti-whiteism in the world. There's no denying it. Fortunately, they have the word anti-white because of us, because of the work we have been doing. So pat yourself on the back. It's been many years in the making, especially the outreach teams and all those wonderful people coordinating these projects and getting this into the mouths of influencers so that then they have used anti-whiteism, and it's spreading. And the 5 key concepts: anti-white narrative, white erasure, Western kind. We need to be using these things. We're spreading them. And that's why there are people everywhere. And you know what's funny is, well, not funny, it's gratifying. I got a call from someone who a long time ago that I said, when this is pushed into the societal conversation, there will be people out there making movies about, writing books that we don't know who they are. We'll just discover it after the fact. That was a conversation I had with a wonderful gentleman who wants to remain anonymous. And he called me and said, he remembered that conversation, and he called me and said, do you know there's a movie called Anti-White that's getting made? That's exactly what you said would happen if we got the concepts out into society. Exactly. That's what I dedicated my life to all the way back at 11 or 12 years of age, when I said, I am giving myself to freeing Western kind of anti-whiteism, because once freed, the great spirit of the West will come through all of these wonderful people in ways that you can't model, in ways that you can't predict. It'll come from different places. That's how it has to happen. That's the only way that we can actually have success against this psychological warfare that's waged against us. And here it is, happening exactly like I said it would. And a gentleman, I wish I could tell you his name, but he needs to remain anonymous, who was honorable enough, and he also, you remembered the conversation, but honorable enough to immediately and excitedly call me and say, my God, do you know these people? Are you behind it? And I said, no, I don't know them. I reached out to them. I am in contact with them. I just found out about it. And he said, it's exactly like you said would happen. You said these people, that the concepts, once we got them out there, that it would start happening elsewhere. We wouldn't know where it would come from. And in this case, it's not done yet, but that's what I was saying in this, where I spoke, where we had the conversation. I said it would be done. We would suddenly discover, okay, the movies are made, books are written, magazine articles are written by people, and they won't know where the original source was. Well, we have an opportunity here, because this group of folks, and they seem very cursory. Maybe some folks can tell me some about them. I have just a cursory knowledge of them thus far. They seem like great folks. They're tired of seeing the country ruined, the United States. They're in the United States. They're tired of seeing the country ruined. They seem patriotic folks. And they are brave enough to say, well, geez, this is an attack on white people. But what's their conclusion going to be? Now, I reached out and I've offered my help and my expertise. All of these years and all that we've done together, we've got quite a lot to say on the who, the what, the when, the why, the where, when it comes to anti-whites and anti-whiteism. So there's no need for them to try to remake the wheel, right? That would just be a giant waste of time. And she, to Maggie's credit, she got back to me and right away and said, thank you so much. We're going to take a look at the videos that you sent. And I've contacted my co-producer. And so we'll be going over this. And gave quite a little bit of information in the email. I also responded to her response and with a little bit more info, and I gave some more offers to her and her team, trying to just make myself as available as possible, because anti-whiteism is without question real. It is the evil of our age. And as the evil of our age, all good people are going to feel themselves compelled to put an end to it, to put this fire out before it destroys our civilization. But this can go wrong. It can go wrong because good people, well-intentioned people, can end up with bad information. They can come to erroneous conclusions, especially just looking at a problem for the first time, especially if they're getting info from other people out there in the world that are misunderstanding the challenge that's before us, right? So we want to be there for these folks. We want to help them out. I want to help them. I hope they take my help because we as a community and everything that we have accumulated in the knowledge and the understanding of anti-whiteism will be extremely valuable to them. And Lord willing, they will be able to reach a great many ordinary folks of all backgrounds, but ordinary folks. And these folks will be able to see and say for the first time with authority, indeed, the problem is anti-whiteism, not Marxism, not communism, not any of these other names that anti-whites give to themselves. They never give us the names that we take for ourselves, so we will not give them the names that they take for themselves. They are going to have to operate in our story, in our lives. As long as our hearts beat, they have to operate in our story. This team needs to know this. So how can this go wrong? Well, I want to share. HB 2014 had some thoughts on this that I want to share that we need to keep in mind when it comes to this. The brilliant HB 2014, truest champion if there ever was one in service to white well-being, HB 2014, folks. You should all be following him on Twitter. And when he makes these clips, he's already made 1,000 clips of yours truly, and I guess Mr. George and some others, that you should be retweeting these and sharing them with as many folks as you can. He's putting time and effort into it, and it is all a labor of love as we are all giving of ourselves. So in just a moment, I'm going to show you, though, Maggie's YouTube, and I've given you the website address already, and I will give you her Twitter. But there are a couple things that come right to mind I want to say before I read what HB had to say here. And the first thing is that we must prevent these good people from picking up the poisonous idea of whiteness. We do not produce, we talk about this all the time, we do not produce whiteness. We produce Western civilization. Whiteness, irrespective of what's in the dictionary. Now, remember, this is a new meme curative, ladies and gentlemen. What's written in your dictionary doesn't overrule the law. It doesn't overrule what is in millions and millions of essays at universities and high schools. It doesn't overwrite, it doesn't overrule what tens of thousands of professors say every day in their classrooms. It doesn't overrule what's said in all of business everywhere you look, in corporate code. Words, anti-white concepts like racist and anti-white concepts like whiteness, they have an actionable definition in the real world. One's dictionary does not overrule those things. So what it says in the dictionary about whiteness is immaterial. What matters is the way it's used in the world. And the way whiteness is used in the world, it has three primary meanings. White people are evil, white people don't exist, and persecution. So when anti-whites are said to be anti-whiteness, and then you object to their anti-whiteness, you are falling into their trap like a fool. And I've been really nice with people. I've been really nice with people to try to explain this to them. But not everybody is able to get this. You fall into their trap because when you are opposed to anti-whiteness, you are for persecuting non-white people. Now you can say, oh, but I'm not. But yes, you are. Because if the masses understand whiteness to mean what I just said, and the regime's media is able to speak to them and say, then therefore, this is what whiteness is, we're opposed to it, and this person is saying that they're opposed to that opposition, that means this person is for persecution. It doesn't matter. Did it matter to the women who were getting burned at the stake when they said, but I'm not actually a witch? Did it matter? The people thought they were witches, right? So stop saying, but the rule book, but the dictionary doesn't, it is so infantile. I guess it's bound to a lot of ego too. We don't want these good people falling into the trap of whiteness. Whiteness is an anti-white slur. It's an anti-white concept. We do not use it. We produce Western culture. We produced Western civilization. It's not anti-whiteness. What the anti-whites do is Antiwhiteism. That's what it is. Now, yes, for many years, I thought that I had put that all together because it wasn't in any of the dictionaries. And then the great Final Blossom several years ago found it in a 50-year-old dictionary. So it's in the dictionaries, and we found it in more since then. Both anti-white and anti-whiteism. That is their ideology, anti-whiteism. We produce Western civilization, Western culture. The other thing we don't want them doing, and I spoke about it just a moment ago, is using the word, the anti-white slur and concept that destroyed Western civilization, that defeated Western civilization, and that is the word racist. The concept, again, your dictionary does not overrule the laws of the federal and state governments in the United States. And it is so childish to continue to think that it does and to argue that it does. You're just going to stand with that dictionary. Well, I'm guessing you must sit on it too to reach the table, because you must be a child to continue to think that way. At least intellectually you are. It doesn't overrule all the corporate codes out there, the millions of them around the world that use the concept racist and the actionable definition in the world to mean variously that whites are evil and that any defense of white people, Western kind, is immoral. The concept racist is defeated by the concept anti-white. We need the concept of racist to die. It is dying. And if you attach it to anti-white, like some people who are otherwise respected, but for some reason, ego gets in the way. You know, and I think it's a strange phenomenon. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. The biggest egos have the smallest, midget sticks. It's like they used to say, to buy the big truck or whatever, and that because it's making up for. I think the gigantic egos make up for, I mean, for God's sake, I was just told the other day that somebody said anti-whiteness racism. I mean, sake, how goddamn senile and backward do you have to be? Stop talking if that's the kind of stupidity coming out of your mouth. We need the concept racist to die. Do not revive it. If you claim to be an advocate for putting an end to the infliction of harm on Western kind and Western civilization, sake, why in God's name would you give CPR to the concept that destroyed Western civilization? No one is racist but white people in the anti-white narrative. You are a dumbass if you think you can continue to use it against the other groups of people. So, maybe you can sense a bit of frustration. We don't use that concept, and we don't want these wonderful people getting into this, making this movie, reaching out to so many ordinary folks of all backgrounds, and reviving the concept racist by saying things like anti-white racist, or these people are the real racists, or these people are anti-whiteness. The anti-whites are anti-whiteness. No. We need to help these people do the best possible job to put an end to the evil of our age, if they will allow us. And I hope they will allow us. The worst thing that can happen, ladies and gentlemen, is that these people who perhaps they're just wonderful. They're probably wonderful. And their heart's probably in the right place. They probably want to do the right thing. That they end up getting information from people in the white sympathetic sphere that are going to lead them into really dumb things and say really dumb things. I mean, could you imagine one of the team members on this team is a Jewish guy? Could you imagine this team of people talking to one of these ant-gnats? Ridiculous. What do you think this team of people are going to do if they end up talking to ant-gnats? So they're going to run. So we want to make sure that we are there for them if they want help, if they want our help. We're going to make sure that we're going to be there for them to support them if they want our support. So I know they're looking for, I know they're still looking for crowdfunding, but we don't exactly know what they're going to make yet. So we as a community might be more interested in helping if we know what's going to end up, what the product is going to be. And maybe that will become apparent as the discussions with these people proceed. These folks, probably wonderful, very wonderful folks. Would take a lot of guts and to say this. Make a movie called Antiwhite, and she says here the attacks on white people. So HB sent me a couple of messages. He says he believes that this movie and this scenario could go one of two ways. And I want to get your thoughts on this too, folks. I mean, this is something that's being put together, and we should put our thinking caps on, and we are doers in this community. We should be figuring out how do we assess, how do we weigh, and then depending upon that, what next, and depending upon how they feel, what next as well. But he says here he believes it could go one of two ways. Either Maggie discovers the decades-long work that we've been doing and avails herself of these successful resources. We've just been talking about the great successes in Iceland, all over the world. He then says, or ego gets in the way, and this team ends up wanting to act like they are the ones who discovered that white people are being victimized for being white. And we see that kind of thing happen with his egos all the time. We hope that it doesn't go that direction. They are heroes for making the movie. They don't, I mean, they're standing on top of the, up on the stage. Everybody who serves gets to be on the stage. There's nobody in the rostrum, and everybody else is looking on. So if they're going to make a movie like this, they're going to bring attention to anti-whiteism and the victimization of Western kind. They get to be on the stage. So I hope there doesn't need to be more ego involved than that. As HB is pointing out, that they end up claiming that they are the ones who are discovering, that they're the only ones who are going to point out that this is taking place. That sort of a thing. So let's see. He also warns, as has another one of our brilliant thinkers, Lovely Porridge from Australia, that without our knowledge, their efforts could end up in suggestions that will harm more white people, such as radical individualism as a curative for this. And the source of anti-whiteism not being anti-whites, but communists who just want to drive people against each other. That is extremely dangerous and damaging to our people, because the appeal of radical individualism will only resonate with white people. And white people will happily say, okay, I'm not going to identify with other white people. I'm just going to identify with ideas. And that is why we've been getting so victimized over the years. This is deleterious. And to say also that those who are behind anti-whiteism aren't actually anti-white. They're just communists. That again deprives us of the reality that we need to hear again and again, because we don't naturally bond together for the well-being of our group and therefore the well-being of us as individuals. It deprives us of the truth, which is that we are attacked as individuals because we are members of the group that the anti-whites attack. We need to hear that again and again and again and again until it never ends. That we are attacked and suffer and victimized and lose our job and get raped and get murdered and get bludgeoned and get disfigured and economies crash and everything. This happens to us because we are members of the group, Western kind, that anti-whites attack. If you tell white people that those in charge, they're not anti-whites, they're just communists, and they just want to drive different groups against each other, the conclusion that white people will come to, which will be deleterious, like this mephitic vapor that they breathe in, will be that, oh, they want to just drive us against each other as groups. Therefore, I will reject my group and endeavor to come together. And an impossible thing if you're dealing with the human animal. You need a different species. And endeavor instead to bring all of these disparate groups together on the basis of individualistic adherence to a collection of ideas, abstractions. It does not work. You need a different species if you want it. Only the white race will do this radical individualism thing. Yes, there will be some non-whites that will say, or some will give lip service, some will genuinely believe it. But on the whole, you see group endeavors, non-white people very naturally, and it's a wonderful thing. But ask CNN if it's true. But it's a wonderful thing that they're able to conclude that their individual well-being comes by way of their group's well-being. White people absolutely don't do that. So we need to hear that those who are doing this to us, those who have the most power in doing this, are anti-whites. Not that they're communists, not that they're Marxists, not that they're globalists, not that they're one-worlders, not any of that shit. They're anti-whites. If you want to talk about their wealth and power, you can toss an oligarch, anti-white oligarchs. Don't call them elites. They're not smarter and better and better dressed than us. They are anti-whites, anti-white oligarchs, what have you. White people need to hear this again and again. They can't escape in the conversation that the reason they suffer as an individual is because their group is attacked. The only conclusion then is to get together as a group for our defense. And here's the thing. We need to get together for our individual well-being by way of our group's well-being as a moral to the rest of the world. It is a good to the rest of the world for Western kind to do that, because if we don't, Western kind burns to the ground. And if Western kind burns to the ground, everyone else's opportunities and liberties and etc. goes with it. Natural environment goes with it. What do you think will happen to the whales? What do you think will happen to the on and on? If we do not get together, Western kind, as a collective, which doesn't harm any other, and anybody that would say that it harms other groups of people for Western kind to get together as a collective just admitted to you that they're anti-white, because no human being survives, a human group of individuals in humanity survives as individuals. They die off. That's what's happening to Western kind. Individualism is suicide in a world of collectives. Remember that. That's one of our meme curatives. It is the highest moral good for Western kind to collectivize in our own defense. Because if we do not put an end to anti-whiteism, Western civilization burns down. Every race, flora and fauna of the world burns down with it. So tell me now that it isn't important. Tell me now that there's any other way to challenge this. There isn't. We need to help these people if they want our help. So let's be there for them. I will pull up now her YouTube. There is Maggie's YouTube. So you can see it is Fog City Midge. If you want to follow her on YouTube, Fog City Midge. You saw the website for the movie, which is antiwhitemovie.com. Do not bother trying to contact them there. It was not working up to today, as far as I know. But you can see the info there. You have Fog City Midge here on YouTube. And then her Twitter, which I did have up a moment ago, and I will find again. Where is it? Where did it go? Oh, it's over here. It is at Fog City Midge. At symbol FOGCITYMIDGE. You can follow her on Twitter, on YouTube, and she's this. She appears to be like the central figure of what's happening when it comes to this anti-white, the movie. So again, let's be supportive, and kind, and considerate, and where they want help and they want support. Let's be ready. Let's find out what's happening with this movie, what direction they're going with it, and then we can decide how much we want to help, how we want to help, etc. It could be exactly the kind of thing that America and therefore the world needs right now. A movie like this would engender the creation of many more. So they're going to be talking to people, especially if they're going to be doing research and film interviews and everything. And I will just say now, I don't know, I invited Midge to watch today, that I will fly to where you are. You won't have to spend a penny. I will fly to where you are. You want to do an interview, whatever, I will make it happen. But if they've got to do interviews, if they got to talk to people about what's happening, then God Almighty, there are plenty of places that would be places that would not be good for them to go, that would lead them in very bad directions. that's what I wanted to say about that. I'll see what you have to say about it in a second. Very briefly, I want to thank everyone who jumped on over to that Fox News thread where Tucker Carlson, did I not predict this about gag sad? You know, I heard somebody told me he invented the word that he claimed. Somebody told me that gag sad claimed that he invented the word plagiarism. I don't know if that's true or not. It's probably not true, but somebody told me that he said, I don't know. Now, Tucker Carlson, didn't I say exactly that was going to happen? That Gag produces this book, and that is eerily similar to a book that was out 15 years before his, and is in its second edition, iteration 2, and that eerily similar, but it takes everything and turns it into abstractions, which is always harmful for Western kind. Takes everything, turns it all into abstractions, and then with the help of a publisher, the same family of which were the ones that financed Richard Spencer, push his book all over the world, but certainly Canada and the United States, but it's getting pushed everywhere. He's making tons of money off of white people, tons and tons of money off of white people. What I would call tons and tons. I think most people would call tons and tons of dollars. And then, of course, he attacks me viciously, demands that I am thrown off of Twitter. We have the tweets of him demanding that Jack Dorsey throw me off of Twitter to silence me. He's supposed to be this conservative free speech thinker. Bullshit. He's an anti-white dog. That's what this guy is. And he's got all of his anti-white buddies out there helping him get his message out there of his god-awful book. It's trash. Of this guy's god-awful book. And I said to you all, if you all remember, somebody probably still has a clip of it. I said, he'll end up on Tucker Carlson. That's what's going to end up happening. That happened last week. Tucker, the Cuck Carlson, I don't know what's going on there. In this interview, Tucker says, I want everybody to read his book. How much do you want to bet that's going to be hundreds of thousands of sales? Why don't you go do the math? Go look up how much that garbage book costs. That's going to be hundreds of thousands of sales, I'm guessing, because Carlson said, I want everybody to read this book. So that's going to be a big chunk of his audience. They're just going to buy it. They're going to buy it for themselves to read. They might just put it on a shelf. They might read the first couple of pages and see, my God, this is trash, and then put it on the shelf. They'll probably buy it for Christmas as gifts to their conservative or the Republican or whatever it might be, buddies and friends, sons and daughters. They're going to buy this filthy rag made by Gag because he got to appear on Tucker Carlson. He's been appearing on other Fox shows and et cetera. He got to appear on Tucker Carlson. And I want to thank everybody. I asked everybody to go over there. And I said, I'm going to make a comment, and please go over there and give it a thumbs up and add comments of your own. Well, lo and behold, Fox or YouTube or whatever, the anti-whites or one or the other, anti-whites calling themselves Fox News employees or anti-whites calling themselves YouTube employees, kept deleting my message, my comment. And people said, no, it's got to be automatic. I mean, they couldn't just be there deleting, it would be up. It wouldn't happen immediately though. That was the thing. I don't think it's automatic because it would automatically happen, but it's not automatically happening. So I began changing it. I changed all of the I's to ones, all the O's to zeros, all the A's to @ symbols. And I changed variations of that. I changed around changed different ways of saying things. I eventually got to the point where I was putting in just a couple of words, like an original post, and then a couple words in response, and a couple words in response, and a couple words, and that would stay up for a while. Then they would delete a couple of those and just mix it all up. Nonetheless, I eventually got that up just in like this broken pieces. I didn't get the whole message up. And so I want to thank everybody who gave a like to those few broken pieces of my response. It's very curious. It's very curious how that ends up. I mean, my review on this guy's book not only gets deleted from, and it was, I purchased the book, I read the book, and it was a completely, I still have the review. I'll share the review in a video in the future. Not only does my review get taken down, but Amazon takes away my ability to ever review anything again. Because I did not say in the review, but you must be thinking, oh, Jason must have made some kind of wild allegation. No, none. I made no wild allegations. I gave a couple comments about, no allegations at all. I gave a couple comments about what I thought about his book, and then pointed out that I too have a book, came out long before his, that is called this, and it's available here on Amazon as well. I eventually took that, they deleted that review. I even took that out. Then they deleted it and took away my ability to review anything on Amazon. Isn't that interesting? Kind of like the anti-whites are trying to lead white people down this abstractionist dead end yet again. Kind of like that, isn't it? So I want to thank everybody who gave a thumbs up and everybody who wrote their own comment over there. Check back to see if they left your comment up. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But it does seem like there are quite a few anti-white dogs out there like Gag who are endeavoring to prevent white people from identifying as a people and identifying that their victimization is a consequence of being a member of a group that's under attack, and therefore that their individual well-being is only achievable by way of their group's well-being. So thank you all for that. And let's see. I wasn't able to get a content creator together for today, and we're really at the end here. I got to go very shortly here because there's some other activities, some other work for White Wellbeing that I got to do. So, and actually there was no mail in the mailbag this week, which is fine. I have a few comments to read. I'll take a look at your comments online, and then we will roll, because I got to roll. Flora writes with $10. Thank you so very much, Flora, for the $10 financial gift. Living in an anti-white world is exhausting. I am exposed to it continually. It is discouraging. You are 100% correct that it is a war waged against us. Thank you for addressing the madness. Well, thank you so very much for your testimonial there, Flora. It absolutely is a psychological warfare. And that's why, since it's psychological warfare, you haven't seen until now, an effort to resist against it that has been successful. It always takes, they control the context, and then the resistance takes the form of the context that they give you within that context. And ergo, it is intended to fail. It always does fail. This is outside of their context, the psychological defense that we have here in service to white well-being. And that is why we succeed again and again. So by what metric will you measure success? We measure success by those several ways. One of the main ways is the interactions with anti-whites and vagues who are villainy signaling anti-whiteism, and our concepts trump theirs. They go away feeling like the immoral agent in that situation, and you go away as the moral agent. There are a lot of people whose IQs are 100, 90, 110, and they're not able to comprehend how big of a victory that is. But they can understand social proof. So the more people that are picking it up, the more they will use it. Just like the ant-nats now suddenly using anti-white and then saying, oh, it's always been that way. Except nothing has gone away, dummies. All those old articles and everything, they're still there. But nevertheless. So, and now, Flora, we have the Going Free clubs. And this will really be able to begin picking up speed. And we're very excited about that. Thank you so very much. Promethean Promulgation, financially gifting $10. Thank you, brother. I usually see anti-whites online pretend to not understand the lexicon. Yes, yes. I love that. Don't you love that? It is great. Where else have you seen that? I haven't even read the rest of it. Let me read. But they are unwilling to look that dumb in front of people they know IRL. Well, yes, precisely. Where else do you see people get confused and not have a response? You, your mother, your brother, your best friend, your cousin, right? When they used to come up to you in the past, not just Promethean promulgation, obviously, folks. This is Promethean promulgation, great champion of service to white well-being, par excellence. But before you came to Going Free and you had this lexicon, when the anti-whites would use the MPs on you, you did the same dumb, I don't understand. Do you remember the guys at Arizona State University? Remember that poor kid? Didn't have the lexicon. That was you. That was all of you before the concepts of white well-being. You just, I don't understand quite what you're saying because you don't know how to respond to it. You're the immoral actor. You're the immoral actor in the scenario. And now Promethean promulgation is experiencing life atop a giant white stallion, with like a flaming sword of truth in one hand, and watching the villains just wilt metaphorically before his use of the lexicon, watching them suddenly go, I don't get it. What are you trying to say? That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, it's a wonderful scenario to be in when they act that way. So well done. Thank you for sharing that with us. A magnificent testimonial. That really is magnificent. Flora back again with another $3. Writes, you are so right on being cautious. I don't exactly know what I was saying being cautious about, but I appreciate you supporting me there and the $3 financial gift. Thank you, Flora. Penelope, financially gifting. Get your raucous emojis together, folks. $25. Thank you so much. Says here, hi and thank you. And then with another $25, so $50 total. It looks like Yiz, the unifier, is going to bed. A big salute to you, Yiz. Great seeing you tonight. We're wrapping up because I got to go, actually. And so $50 from Penelope. Thank you so much. Hi and thank you. Best this time. God bless you, sweet sister. I really appreciate it. Thank you so very much. From Penelope. Let me swivel around here because I know, don't want to knock that water over. Yeah, big round of raucous emojis. We have the great Brad C. is with us. Hello, brother. And he financially gifts $20. Thank you, brother. Always with us, always here, always going free. That's what a champion looks like. And here's another one, folks, the great Slots. And this is a name you know very well. $5 financial gift. And he writes, hi, Yiz's family. Believe Jason, he says. She's a hero. Absolutely. So Yiz's family out there, you have it from Slots. To believe me when I say that Yiz is a hero, it's absolutely true. Thank you so much, Slots. You're magnificent. And we have here, what shall I call you, brother? I'll call you D because I can't. Your handle here makes me think it might be also used for work. And so I'm not going to do that. And then I don't want to say your first name either. So we're going to call you D. D has financially gifted, unless he says otherwise, it comes to life in the chat. Get your raucous emojis out, folks. $67.45 from D. Thank you so much, brother. I really deeply appreciate that in service to white well-being. And he writes this, add this to the white well-being metaphorical war chest. Add this to the White Wellbeing metaphorical war chest. Thank you so much, D. I absolutely will. $67.45. Yep, God bless you, and I thank you. I don't know if that's your first time financially gifting, but that's wonderful. Thank you so much. And then we have the great Slots is back again. $5 more from the champion. And he says, for the Antiwhite movie, if journalism should interview, okay, if they should interview, he's saying $5. Slots is giving $5. You hear that, Maggie? Slots, a great champion to Western civilization. $5 financial gift. He says, $5, interview Jason. I really appreciate that, Slots. I will bring to their project all of your hopes, your loves, your dreams, your emotions, your pain, your mission, your life. I will bring it all to life for those people. We've had now is our time. The past always pulls at tomorrow, and those winds of change that are blowing, they're coming from our lungs. Let me see what you all are saying here. God bless every single one of you, and we're going to keep rolling. We have the great Jubilation Media, which is Lovely Porridge. Most people don't advocate for white well-being because they believe it's synonymous with harming or hating non-white people. Their white guilt leads them to think that anti-whiteism is the moral choice. If you tell them that one racial group is to blame for anti-whiteism, you reinforce the very idea you claim to oppose. They will think anti-whiteism is moral because opposing it would mean harming another group, the very same group we victimized last time. It reinforces their white guilt and, in their mind, reaffirms why anti-whiteism is necessary. It's a conversation stopper. We want to kick down the hurdles which prevent our people from working in their interests, not raise the height and add 100 more. That's why our message is simple. We oppose anti-whites, whether they belong to a racial group that's overrepresented or underrepresented in anti-whiteism. No free pass or excuses, no cucking. But you'll find the people who only focus on one group do give a free pass and make excuses for anti-whites. For instance, they'll celebrate anti-whites who criticize Israel. What kind of message does that send to vagues? It shows that they are not concerned with our well-being. They just hate others. And the vagues would likely be correct. Anti-white groups like the ADL love being able to point to these examples. White sympathetic podcasters have a lot in common with neoconservatives. They have found the perfect losing strategy, and they are determined to make sure they never change. It has amassed audiences who feel as though they are getting the real facts and history, which explains in detail where everything went wrong, but nothing ever changes. Here in White Wellbeing, we are not after takes and content. We are after change, and we are active in making that happen. If there was ever something to clip out, it was the brilliance, the scintillating brilliance of Lovely Porridge in that message that is in a thread and you can find for yourself. What a magnificent, I just got to read this. The first paragraph. Most people don't advocate for white well-being because they believe it's synonymous with harming or hating non-white people. Their white guilt leads them to think that anti-whiteism is the moral choice. If you tell them that one racial group is to blame for anti-whiteism, you reinforce the very idea you claim to oppose. They'll think anti-whiteism is moral because opposing it would mean harming one group, the very same group we victimized last time. My God, if there was ever a metaphorical stake driven through the heart of the Nat argument, it was that right there. God bless you, brother. That's the great brilliance of lovely porridge. Going free, down under, a true champion. Jake Coffey writes here, what do you think about the, and he puts in quotes, chosen people? Jake, I'm going to tell you to come away from that mindset. I'm going to tell you to be redeemed and to go free with us of the anti-white narrative. Why would you put yourself in someone else's story? In that story, those people, and why not, call themselves chosen people. Why would you be in their story? Why would you be a character in their story? Get out of their story. Get into our story. Start loving our people. Put your eyes on us. Start going free of your mean pathogen infections. Find ways that we can put an end to anti-whiteism. Get busy. We're running out of time. Stop worrying about other groups of people. Thank you for the question. Promethean Epoch writes, the ones who are not anti-white are fine. He writes this in response to Jake. We only oppose anti-whiteism here. 100%. Jake's hitting the nail right on the head. It's the actions. It's the things people do, the decisions they make, the things they think, the things they do, things they say. That's what matters. That's how you want to be judged, right? You don't want anti-whiteism to continue. That says that you're evil because you're white. Reptile, the great Reptile. We have so many bright folks. He writes here, Lauren has been using the lexicon on multiple platforms since her previous appearance. And another big thanks to Yiz for purchasing her a copy of Go Free that very stream. Bravo, ladies. Side note, I keep hearing this MP, the best way to help ourselves is by helping others. This implies, and it's within the context of anti-whiteism, this implies the best way to better ourselves is by unduly elevating others beyond our own achievements and to our own detriment. And it's being used to portray such harm as a noble sacrifice. I've been successfully combating it with, quote, self-harm is immoral no matter who benefits, close quote. If anyone has a better response, I'd be extremely grateful. I'll just add, Reptile, to this, that this concept, the best way to help ourselves is by helping others, is a concept of reciprocity. Where there is no reciprocity, there is no obligation, and there is no benefit. And you can use any number of scenarios of helping others, and how that, if without there being a reciprocation, how that leads to the inevitable decline. So it's a very short-sighted scenario. And my guess is that a lot of the people who are saying such things to you are mothers who should be focusing on their white children. Irish Ice, we heard from earlier. Put your thinking caps on, everyone, and start figuring out how you can make GFCs, going free clubs, legitimate establishments in your neighborhood. Put your thinking caps on, everyone, and start figuring out how you can make GFCs legitimate establishments in your neighborhood. The power of Go Free is just beginning. Believe, and we recapture our destiny. Very well written, folks. Let's do it. Irish Ice has that right. Let's start making those going free clubs pop up like white roses all around planet Earth, like nothing that's ever been done before. Marie writes here, your reach is further than you think, Jason. We aren't publishing articles and making posts on social media. We are talking, when we aren't publishing articles and making posts on social media, we are talking to each other and spreading the word after church, on the sidewalk, walking the dog, at the Sunday barbecues, on phone calls, visits, holidays, while watching the game, quilting groups, etc. It's slower, but it sticks better when people come together in a cause instead of just liking and sharing a post. God bless you, Marie. You're absolutely 100% right. Thank you for your service to White Wellbeing. I can really feel your words and in the construction of your sentences, that you're really passionate about it and you're really making it happen. You're absolutely right. Thank you. White, I will just say, White D is here, and he writes, "No white guilt. I think I got it. I undownloaded second edition iteration 1 and then re-downloaded to home, and it says first edition, second edition, iteration 2, 2021. So that's how Mr. D got it to work, was on his Kindle or Kindle app. He undownloaded it and then re-downloaded his Kindle version of the second edition. When you do that, you will have iteration 2. This was, let's see. Pamela writes, "I love Jason." Well, thank you, Pamela. Much love in return. "I wish there were a way to get together with like-minded in my area." Well, what do you know? There is now, Pamela. Any idea how I would meet up with like-minded, with the like-minded? It's overdue. We need to stick together. I've left a similar comment on other videos without any replies. How are we to meet like-minded if no one ever replies? Well, Pamela, you're getting the best treatment ever because I am answering during a gathering. You, my dear, can get involved in the White. Are you on Telegram? The White Wellbeing General Forum on Telegram, and I guess maybe we'll put a link up to that. One of the mods will do that. You could start a club, a GFC going free club, or you could join one is started in your area or near your area, or it's online. It could be around the world, whatever it is. Be the agent of change. You want to have picnics, and you want to have family, and you want to have the kids over. You want to use the lexicon. You want to change your life. You don't just want to get together with a bunch of people from the white sympathetic sphere who are going to bring this garbage from the past or this garbage from some kooky place or whatever it might be. You want to get together like normal folks, but you want to use the lexicon. You want to empower yourself. You want to hear other people using it. You want your kids to hear adults using the lexicon. Make a Going Free Club. Get it started. Become part of Going Free Clubs, folks. Let's make it happen. Let's see. Bane Clandestine writes, also, thank you, Jason, for doing this important work. Many days I am vacant, able to carry out my day-to-day tasks by sheer memorization, but my mind never leaves my people. They and their well-being weighs heavily on my soul. We have lost so much, so much. Heaven cries out to what happens daily to our children and our women that fall into self-loathing and carry out self-negating actions. But you, Jason, give me hope to carry on. I sincerely mean this. God, that's very kind of you. Thank you very much, Brother Bane. That is wonderful. Thank you so very much. Thank you for being here with us. We are going to be able to do that for each other. We're going to be able to push each other. We're going to be able to help each other to keep moving forward with all of these successes that we're having in our lives, in every country, in every state around the world. And we need to make more people aware of it. And we need to get these GFCs going, because that is going to really transform. The time has come. We have enough people now. This has all been part of the program all along. This wasn't just thought up. The time was right to roll these out. GFCs are now a thing. You saw Mr. V actually on the exact same wavelength as we joked, as though it's almost like there's a biospirit or something on the exact same wavelength. Absolutely right on time. This is the time. Let's make it happen. Maybe your life will be infinitely better by starting a GFC and in your area, and you can begin getting together. And folks, don't you dare hesitate to tell somebody, no, you will not talk about something from the antique shop. No, you will not talk about something kooky from whatever it is you're trying to bring it from, wherever. We are white positive here. We are not white negative. If you want to talk about white negative things, you must go. That is how we have to be in service to white well-being. Because you bring in people that want to be white negative, and all the ordinary folks out there are never going to want to participate. We're white positive. We're going free. We are the destiny and tomorrow for our youth. Let me take a quick look over here. And it looks like we have a Flora with another $3. God bless you. Thank you so very much for that. $3 financial gift. I support your wellness group at my peril, which means I truly support your message to protect our people. Wow. Well, thank you for that. Yes. We all have different levels that we can support at and what we can do. Sometimes, those contexts shift. Sometimes we can do more. Sometimes we can reveal more. Sometimes you can put your face out there like I do. Sometimes you have to remain anonymous to be most effective. And every single person is equally appreciated for their service to white well-being. Thank you, Flora. The great Sloth's over here now. Everywhere I turn, I find Sloth's. What a hero. $5 financial gift. He writes, awesome comment by Reptile about help others. I generated this, quote, that is a reciprocal argument and relies on there being two participants. Only those intending harm to one party dismiss their concerns. Very well put, brother. Yes, indeed. It absolutely implies reciprocation. And where there's only going to be one giving and one receiving, and that's the way it always is forevermore, it is truly, especially when it comes to us, it is truly anti-white and means death for our people. Let me refresh this. I'll take a quick look at this live chat and see if anybody has anything to say. And there is the sweet, dear lady, Carlisle Cockatoo. Hello, sweet lady. How are you? Good to see you again. And I will move through here and see. What we have. If you have, there's Euro Yankee. Great to see you. Diamond Dust is with us. Hello. And the Watcher. Great to see you. The Doers are here. This is the advanced placement. This is where Promethean Healing is here. Elaine Zabatino is here. Ursa Major is here. This is where the history makers come. Ian TD is with us. Great to see you, brother. And slowly moving through. Who was that? Ordinary Man. Hello and welcome to you. All right. I don't think we have any tags, and I didn't see. I think Klomp is here as well, I think. And Draven is here. Apollo, I think I mentioned you earlier, maybe. Mosaic, hello. I'll check over at Promethean Healing. Have you checked Odysee? Let's do that. It actually briefly stopped working, and I will, as I'm doing that, I will take a look here. And see what we have on the question widget. Let's see what's on Odysee. On the question widget, we have Nordic Knight Rider has a testimonial. I recently left my local Patriot Front chapter in Texas after listening to your streams and you explaining where Ant-Nats like Patriot Front will just go to jail and change nothing. Well, brother, the reality there is I'm not, and thank you for your testimonial. I'm not trying in any way. I don't put any crosshairs on any of these groups. What I do is I love our people, and I will make it clear again and again that I will stand up for those who care, those who are white sympathetic, and I will speak in their defense, and I will give them the information they need to make a choice, to actually have a choice that includes their well-being. Because let me tell you what, you can just look back over history. Don't look forward. Don't even look back at the present. Look back over history, and there's been big marches, haven't there? There's been big rallies, big music festivals back in the 80s, 90s, 70s, even late 70s. What did those things achieve? What did they accomplish? What happened to some of the participants? Didn't do anything. I'm not talking about the folks that, did something really egregious. I'm talking about the people who just participated. Now, those who were in charge and through the event, they looked fabulous. They got to be on the stage. They were aggrandized. They were celebrated for being able to hold events and engage in activities that look very much like something from some other era, and they get plaudits for that. But the actual guys that go out to make that, how many applauds do they get? How is their life improved by the FBI knocking on their door? How effective are they for white well-being, what they actually care about, by participating in some sort of event that does nothing good for us whatsoever, makes the folks in charge look really good relative to a metric that is irrelevant, but does nothing for our people whatsoever, and then your life is forfeited for their aggrandizement? I have watched this happen too many times in the white sympathetic sphere to not say something. And I care about these folks. I care about these people. I care about you, Nordic Knight Rider. I want you to have a great family. I want you to have wonderful memories. I want you to raise a bunch of kids. And you know what else I want? I want you to go free and be a machine for white well-being over the course of your life, and bring a bunch of kids up inoculated against anti-whiteism, psychological defense for the psychological warfare waged against us, and unleash those powerful machines onto the world to do the same. That's what I want to have happen for you. I do not want you. I would not. I mean, it's not like, I was explaining this the other day. It's not like these folks in these different groups, whatever they are in charge and of, the Alamo or something. And there's no way out. You've got to fight it out. And therefore, those in charge, it's legitimate for them to say, okay, we have to have the physical battle here. We're nowhere close to that. There's no taking over any streets. There's no demonstration of strength against the United States of America or the United Kingdom, or that is asinine. It is childish. Demonstration of strength, that's like that's like kindergartners, like trying to take on a professional boxer. I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Tyson Fury or whatever. I mean, it's just ridiculous. So that's what I want. He writes here, thank you, Mr. Köhne, for saving me from jail. I am now way more positive than during my time with Patriot Front. Thank you. I really appreciate that. And Nordic Knight Rider writes on, I told my chapter leader that I will not be able or will not be a part of the past. He told me I was a traitor for going free. How do you like that, folks? Now, these groups, I'll just say that they are, I'm not going to talk about any particular group, but they are going free. This is how it's treated. So if you are going to not forfeit your life, put your life on the line so that somebody in charge of that group can look great by some ridiculous metric that does nothing for our people, if you're not going to do that, then you're considered a traitor. Who cares about you? Do the people in charge of those groups care about you? Or they just care about themselves and they care about hating some other group? Or do we care about you here? The people who want you to have a great life, great wife, great husband, great children, and be massively effective for White Wellbeing? Who cares about you? And when they attack me, they endlessly attack me. Well, then I know how I would respond to somebody attacking me who actually cared about, or attacking someone who actually cared about me. I wouldn't have kind words for them. But thank you very much for that testimonial. I want you to go far, brother. Let us know about your successes. I know there'll be many. You're not going to end up like all those stories, where and what do? All those stories, they're like the stories. Well, they FBI raided the house. They found nails. They found a can of gas. Now he's going to jail for 16 years for having bomb making material. And then what does the group do? Oh, well, the group says, well, that's not fair. His life is over. It's not fair. It's not. They wouldn't do that. Look at the hypocrisy. Let's get together a legal fund that'll just accomplish nothing, waste a bunch of money on attorneys that will just lose in the courts. Final Blossom, the great genius Final Blossom has arrived right at the end, ladies and gentlemen. And sorry about calls tonight. I wish I could take them, but I really have something very unique in service to White Wellbeing. Got to do, and I got to get started right away. I'm out of time already. Final Blossom says, I replied to the Antiwhite movie trailer account about the historical use of anti-white in dictionaries and publications, and they liked my tweet. Well, that is magnificent. So you let them know about Antiwhiteism? He also says they also liked Fernald's tweet about Antiwhiteism being the problem. That is great news. That is really great news. Thank you very much for your efforts, for Noel's efforts, and that response. Boy, that encourages me a little bit. Maybe they won't. Maybe they're not going to end up some dumb place when it comes. There's so many ways to go bad, aren't there? Very few ways to go right. So many ways to go bad. Nordic Knight Rider also adds, I have 3 friends who are thinking about leaving our Texas chapter. Well, they got to do what's best for them. If somebody in some group tells you that you got to do what's best for that group, and then they try to guilt you saying you got to do this for the white race, whatever it might be, that you know that you're not dealing with somebody who cares about you for shit. I mean, be serious. So that's what I would communicate to anybody who's considering. And you better believe me just saying to you all what I said about me putting, the individuals first and wanting them to have great families and everything. If I had $500 to bet, I don't. So it's just like, friendly, just like by word bet. I bet you the hate and the misrepresentation and the nasty things and the videos. Do you all remember the video that the Ant Nats sent me with the auto accident? A real video, a real video taken of a truck, and the guy was trapped and it was on fire and people trying to get him out, and he was screaming to death. Do you remember that? And died. He was on fire. He caught fire while they were trying to get him out, and he's screaming and screaming, and then the screaming finally stops. And the Ant Nats wrote, they want to do that to me because I'm not going to name, this some other group. That's the kind of people you want to go out there and put your life on the line for somebody like that. No, too many people smarter than that. But I can tell you what, their invective is going to pour in now because I've said I put the folks first rather than some guy's aggrandizement or whatever it might be. Slots, looks like, again, another $3 financial gift. God bless you, brother. The well-being of white people is only a humanitarian crisis to anti-whites. Wow. Good. That's fantastic. Yes. Well done. $3 as well from the great Slots. And checking Odysee. Now, whoa. How do I look? I know I can see something here. I want to see more of this. Does somebody know how I can? Okay, wait. Folks, let's get a raucous round of emojis together. A raucous round of emojis together for white healing. White healing financially gifted. I'm not sure. Financially gifted $100. White Healing, financially gifted. I see $100. God bless you, brother. And then he says the $1,000 didn't come through. Okay. I see. $1,000 didn't go through. So it has to be $1,000. Okay. $100 from the great White Healing. Thank you so much, brother. $100 financial gift. And Slots is saying that pointing out the joke that it didn't go through, the $1,000 financially gifting $100. Thank you so much, good brother. Thank you so very much. You're a true champion. And needless to say, that's the record over on Odysee. Thank you for pointing that out. I had no idea. The last time I looked over there, it had frozen. So, and then it looks like, okay, White Healing writes here. It's a, how did you do that? Did you financially gift? It says going free and this community has been the best change I have made in my life. And I have made many giant changes for the better. I love you all. Thank you. That is what White Healing wrote, along with a $100 financial gift. Folks, working class people here. These are not like Republican galas where it's $500 a plate and the $500 means nothing to the filthy, stinking rich people. These are, or Democrat galas. This is working class people who are financially gifting things at amounts like $100 because going free and this community, so the practice of going free in this community has been the, all caps, best change I have made in my life. And I have made many giant changes for the better. I love you all. Thank you. I love you, brother. Mike, that testimonial absolutely is splendid. How beautiful. How absolutely beautiful. Thank you so very much. Well, let's see. Slots is telling me that I should look at the back end of, I don't even know how to do that. Let's see if I click on that. Just telling me to look on the back end of Odysee. And I'm not even sure how to do that live, but is there something I need to look on the back end for? I mean, I will take the time to look. Thank you all for your raucous emojis. And as we get the answer to find out whether or not I should be looking at something on the back end, I'm trying to see now. Well, it looks like, ladies and gentlemen, am I wrong here? Am I not seeing right? It looks like, and I apologize for the little bit of the silence there as I'm looking, but did White Healing financially gift $1,000? Because I believe White Healing ladies and gentlemen, White Healing, is White Healing on YouTube? The screen over on Odysee for me has frozen. Does anybody know more than I do about this? As we scramble to find out, I will look at, we have a financial gift from Alma Lahar. Thank you so much, brother. $13.37. $13.37. Thank you so much, Alma. And he writes, for White Wellbeing. God bless you, Alma Lahar. Great champion and supporter of White Wellbeing. And we have Art Acrobats jumping in tonight on a financial gift, $2.14. $2.14. Thank you so much, good brother. And he says here with his financial gift, please, prayers for my dear dog to get a good doctor. And absolutely, prayers and positive energy for Art Acrobats. His dog needs a good doctor, and we hope that dog will get the best. We all know our pets are family, and when a pet is ill or a pet needs to be operated on, it's just like a family member. So wish the very best for you, brother, and hope he or she comes out of it doing magnificently with the happiest tail that you've ever seen on the dog. And thank you so very much for that. Promethean healing. So what you're saying then is, what I'm looking at is $1,000 from you. He wasn't joking. He gave, or did you give $1,100? Because you gave I know I read the 100. Let's get out the raucous emojis. My gosh, Promethean healing. No, not $1,000, $1,100 financial gift by Promethean healing. I thought that what I was looking at didn't make any sense based on the other screen. It's frozen. Thank you, Odysee, right in the middle of when I needed the screen not to be frozen. But my God, he said in his testimonial, best decision of his life. A working class gentleman, best decision of his life was to go free. This community, best decision, and he's made some great decisions, he said, and he's financially gifted $1,100 to White Wellbeing. God bless you, brother. That is magnificent. What a way to enthusiastically, and I'm gonna tell you what, we're heading right off. We're gonna wrap up the gathering on this extraordinarily high note of success, having all around the world. And my God, this magnificent hero in service to White Wellbeing, Promethean healing over here, saying had extra money saved up, and where there is extra, our people should also get some. And my God, that is going into the record books. Just right at the end of the gathering, $1,100, completely with the malfunctioning over here. I'm trying to get it back of our stream on my end at least, but $1,100 financial gift. God bless you, brother. We're gonna have some exciting things happening this week, and I think you all are going to be very happy and when you find out. So we're going to keep moving. We're going to keep making it happen. We're going to keep growing and spreading and having these babies and raising wonderful families, transforming the world, taking the lexicon into numerous languages, and it working in all of those languages as well. We are going to continue being the agent of change, where you have only seen decay, where you have only seen failure, where you have only seen people who cared about themselves, like we were talking about a moment ago with Nordic. We're going to continue to thrive, to survive, to triumph, to see another day where the sun rises in the west, because we hoist it up, because we are the makers of a tomorrow, because we are the builders of the West. Not everybody is going to be able to come along for that ride. I'm sorry for that. There are some very jealous people. There are some very big egos and midget sticks out there and midget wits out there. They're going to get in the way. They're going to continue attacking. They're going to be as problematic, really, as a lot of anti-whites. But we're going to keep marching. We're going to keep being that elect of Western kind, because that's what our people lacks. That's what our people needs. And that is exactly who you are, who we all are. I love you all. Let's go free.